Good morning. It's 5 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We've got sunshine coming our way today with a high near 90. The heat index is approaching 105. The U.S. stands ready, willing, and able to help Venezuela after two devastating earthquakes that struck the country last night. That message was from President Trump.
Concern about aftershocks after two powerful earthquakes rocked Venezuela, hitting less than a minute apart. The first, a 7.2 magnitude quake. Then, 39 seconds later, and just miles away, a 7.5 quake. People fleeing into the streets of Caracas, buildings swaying, smoke plumes rising from the city.
That's ABC's Sophie Flay. At least 32 people were killed, 700 injured, as intensive rescue operations are still underway. Locally, police have arrested a 56-year-old man, charged him with public indecency after two girls claimed he exposed himself in a woman's bathroom at Opry Mills Mall. Christopher West at first denied wrongdoing, telling police he was just fixing his pants that were falling down. Court records show West bonded out of jail, and his case is set to be reviewed by a judge in August. It was another monumental evening in Washington, D.C. last night. Thousands of people gathering on the National Mall.
This evening, it's my honor to officially kick off the celebration with the Great American State Fair. It's going to be great. It's going to be unbelievable.
President Trump announcing the 16-day showcase of 56 U.S. states and territories. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com.
It's a mixed bag for stocks on Wall Street, with big tech weighing down some sectors, but falling oil prices buoying others. The Dow added 183 points. The Nasdaq lost 110. The S&P slipped 7 points. The tech sector lost ground for the third straight day, especially those focused on artificial intelligence. Anticipation was high for Micron Technology, which reports its latest earnings after the close. Investors appear to be questioning if AI can deliver the profits needed to justify heavy spending. Oil prices fell to their lowest levels since early March as oil tankers moved through the Strait of Hormuz. Brent crude, the international standard, fell to $74 a barrel. The National Taxpayer Advocate says the IRS did better than expected in issuing refunds during the 2026 tax season, despite massive cuts to its workforce. Oregon-based robotics firm Agility Robotics is going public on Wall Street. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
And by the way, oil prices this morning, amazing. Brent oil is down now to $72 a barrel, and West Texas Intermediate crude below $70 a barrel for the first time in the longest time. It's now at $69.46 a barrel. On the pre-markets, we've got the Dow futures plus 73, NASDAQ futures up 641 this morning. S&P futures are plus 56. That is the latest news. Stick around. Traffic is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Well, roads look pretty good this morning. I'm not seeing any delays on 2465 or on 40 so far. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Hope you are doing well, and welcome on in. It is Thursday. It is June 25th, and there is a lot going on. I do want to start, though, Joan, with some good news.
Oh, what is it? I love good news to start the day.
I thought it was interesting because, sometimes people like to dwell on all the negative.
Yeah.
But apparently Donald Trump, his numbers amongst independents are going up.
Yeah.
In a recent, did you have this? In a recent poll.
Yesterday, yeah.
Oh, you did have it yesterday?
No, I heard it yesterday. So,
okay, very good. Thank you for destroying the bit. Never mind. Totally kidding, Joan. Totally kidding.
Tell us more, Dan.
Please, Dan, tell us more. No. 34% of independents seem to appreciate what Donald Trump is doing. Obviously, that is a big deal.
Do you think, though, that their opinion is being swayed by the absolute insanity on the left?
You know what? It could be.
It sort of pushes them to Donald Trump because he's looking even more normal, thinking.
Yeah, level-headed.
Level-headed because the outrageousness that's occurring on the left.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that the crazed behavior of people on the other side of the aisle, I think, makes Donald Trump look normal, especially when, as you and I talked about, where you have people that are talking to and praising the algae in the reflection pool, where it's like, okay, so all Donald Trump wanted to do was fix it, and they're dumping algae into the pool, they're slicing the liner and the whole thing, and it makes Trump look normal. And I believe that Donald Trump is normal, but I mean, to the other side and to the average independent person who is looking at the abhorrent bad behavior of people on the other side, yeah, I think maybe you're right. I mean, you can disagree with Donald Trump politically all you want, but can we just be honest? I think I hate to say this, Joan, but I think the vast majority of people out there couldn't even name the vice president. So if you're only looking at
that,
it is sad. So when you start breaking down, okay, so Iran, the memorandum of understanding, the economy, oil, what Trump is trying to do in Iran, the impact of illegal immigration under Joe Biden, the fact that the Democrats are now socialists, all of these things, a lot of the folks who are independent or not necessarily, maybe you'd call them moderate. I don't know what you would call them, but they're not in that political landscape like we are. Then they have to really focus on, the shallow, the superfluous. You know what I'm talking about? And so when they see a bunch of lunatics out there dressed up as frogs and singing to algae, and hoping that the algae destroys $16 million worth of work in Washington, D.C. in the reflection pool, well, then ultimately, yeah, they look at Donald Trump and they say, well, he's just trying to fix it. Anybody with a swimming pool understands that all he's trying to do is fix the problem. And the Democrats want the problem to get worse. And so I do believe that when we talked about this yesterday, Joan, where you've got these three socialists, communists, whatever you want to call them, in New York that won the Democrat primary, and you hear about all of the abhorrent behavior, like wanting to wipe their hands on the American flag. Are you flipping kidding me? I think the average American looks at that and they think, why would you do that? And why would the Democrats want this kind of person representing them in the House of Representatives? And so that's why I said this yesterday. I said, this is a gift to the Republicans because they can hang these three on the Democrat Party. And the Democrat Party, regardless of whether or not Hakeem Jeffries supports these people or not, it's a great talking point for the Republicans. And so I think personally, right now, and it is 5:10 Nashville, Tennessee on Thursday, June 25th. I'm feeling really good this morning about the midterm elections for a number of different reasons. Again, gas prices are going down. I forgot to look, Joan, and I'm upset with myself.
Yeah.
But I forgot to look at what the gas prices were with my favorite gas station this morning, as I do every morning. For whatever reason, I just didn't look to my left this morning as I was driving down the road. But yesterday, it was still at $3.29, which is far lower than where it was. I don't know if you noticed, Sam or Joan, your favorite gas station. Is it still going down?
Oh, yeah. So I didn't look this morning, but I think yesterday that I told you it was at 317, which I thought was terrific because it just keeps trending downward.
And you were telling me before the show that oil futures are down as well right now.
Oil futures are down incredibly. So pretty cool. It's pretty cool to watch it. West Texas Intermediary fell below $70. You know, they haven't seen those kind of prices for oil in a long time. And there's just so many millions of gallons of oil that are leaving the Strait of Hormuz now and headed to refineries. And so you're going to see this churn out. Now, a lot of gas stations are going to be charging at higher prices while they work through the gasoline that they have, that they paid a lot of money for. You know, they'll pass that on to consumers for now. But as they buy new supplies of gas, we're going to see the gas prices really, really plummet.
Yeah, President Trump is ordering the DOJ to investigate gas stations and so forth. And I'm going to have actually EJ and Tony on later this morning at 6:35. He does a lot of analysis for us. He's the lead economist for the Heritage Foundation, and he knows a lot about this stuff. And he's explained many times here on WTN, they've got to sell the gasoline that is in their tanks because they pay for it at a certain price. Therefore, that's going to be the price that they're going to charge us for. But then once they start buying the gasoline from the companies, then they got to buy it at a lower level. That's when they pass it on to the consumers. So you're right, Joan. They've got to pass it. They got to go through all the gasoline that they have now. Then we'll start to see the lower gas prices, which is good. And let's see, 6429 says Clarksville. Wow. MAPCO in Clarksville, $2.94.
Whoa.
That is under $3 a gallon.
Yeah.
Obviously. Captain Obvious. So thank you very much. And let's see here. 7670, the hate coming in early already. What proof has been shown that people cut the liner or put algae in it? Any middle school student knows that hot temps and stagnant water will produce algae. Just look at any pond. Well, there was a big slit in the liner. That's number one. And number two, there's video. So I don't know what else to tell you, 7670, other than there is proof, but whatever. Listen, it's all good. 7670. If you want to keep your head firmly planted up your arse, you get right on ahead.
Check this out. Right by me at the Speedway in Manchester, 307.
307.
I passed by that this morning. Why did I pass by that?
8611, 316 in Murfreesboro. Let's see here. BJ's in Mount Juliet, $3. $3. Let's see here. Looking at.
Oh, Cabana Wife says 303 at Sam's in Lebanon. Nice.
Okay, very good. And let's see here. I'm just looking at everybody sending in their gasoline prices now. Do you know there was a time where, like when Trump first started and before the situation in Iran, I didn't really even look at the prices. Mm-hmm. And now I try to look at them every single day, only because we are seeing the prices go down. And this is, again, obviously a very good thing. Let's see here. Jim says in the borough yesterday, number of stations were at 313, 314. So where does gas have to be? I'm going to ask EJ and Tony this. Where does gas have to be before, because we know it's going to go down because the oil futures have been going down and so forth. So eventually, probably, I wonder in the next couple of weeks, probably the gas stations will get through their current supply in their tanks and they'll start to buy new at the lower prices. I wonder how long that'll be. And one of the things that EJ, by the way, has been saying is that it's going to take a minute for the gas to get way back down to where it was pre-war because some of the infrastructure has been destroyed in the Middle East. Some of the oil infrastructure has been destroyed in the Middle East. But also remember that there have been some of these OPEC nations. I don't mean to bore people with this, but remember the OPEC nations, some of them said, you know what, screw OPEC. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start selling oil ourselves outside of OPEC. And also don't forget that as Iran begins to sell oil on the open market as well, that puts more oil on the open market. And that means that the prices will go lower as well, perhaps then making up for the damage done to the oil infrastructure in the Middle East.
Here's one other thing we have to think about. In the summertime, traditionally, the refineries close down for weeks at a time, sometimes a month. They do maintenance during the summer months. So you're going to see some refineries not putting out as much product as they had been. But I think it'll be overcome by the amount of oil that is going to be flowing through other refineries as, everybody kind of staggers their downtimes at their refineries.
James says, so look at some of the oil companies' profits and tell me they have not been up. I don't know if the oil companies' profits have been up, but
Shell made like $7 billion last quarter.
One of the things that I would say is that, and I'll ask EJ, it's a fair question. I'll ask EJ the question, which is, we see these oil companies making these, some would say, obscene profits, whatever. I'm a free market kind of guy. So for me, one of the things that I would say is there are times when they don't make near the profit that they're making now, for example. So nobody is feeling sorry for the oil companies when they're not making as much profit. But I'll ask EJ that question because he's the expert. I'm not. It is 5:17 on Super Talk 99.7. Speaking of oil and gasoline and the roads, let's check the traffic on WTN.
All right, so we're looking at a crash now in Goodlettsville. It's on 65, southbound side at Rivergate Parkway, exit 96. Not a really big delay around that. Just something to keep your eye on. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, at 5:18, as far as your weather goes, Joan, I've already shanked my hosting duties this morning.
Of course.
Did not write down my official Joan forecast, which is
sunshine today. Lots of sunshine, but we're going to hit near 90 degrees, like maybe 89, 90 degrees. But the real story is about the heat index. Could be up around 105 today. So, and it's about to get worse. Like, it's going to get a little warmer every day for the next few days.
I am so grateful they're not growing corn across the street from my house.
Why?
Well, because every acre of corn produces 4,000 gallons of water into the air. So if you've got 100 acres of corn, that's 400,000 gallons of water into the air. So your microenvironment, your immediate area is very humid.
So you have more humidity if they're growing corn. You have more humidity around your house.
Yes, and they're not right now. They just got done with some straw, so I'm feeling.
Do you know
very
what's
grateful.
so weird about humidity? You people listening in Florida, because we got people that listen all over the place. I'm curious about this. I actually noticed something. So when Amy and I were in Florida, and Riker, we were in Florida last week. And typically I hate the humidity. By the way, somebody's accusing me of drinking Haterade. I'm going to tell you why coming up. He may have a point. So we were in Florida, outside, incredibly humid, right? Incredibly humid. I got to the point where I couldn't stand air conditioning. Like humidity, it was really weird. Humidity is like you walk outside, at least in Florida, you walk outside and you're being hugged by Mother Nature. Like, that's what it felt like to me. And so I got to the point where I would walk into the hotel and I didn't like the air conditioning. We would get into the bus to take us to the amusement park, and we would go from, 85 and humid to air conditioning, and it felt like I was in a meat locker, and I didn't like it. And so we'd walk into our hotel room, and it's like, turn the air conditioning off. I got to the point where I was intolerant of air conditioning, and I started craving the humidity. Is that a thing? Like, is that a sign, Joan, maybe that I'm getting older?
Yeah, well, it could be, yeah.
I don't know what that
Older
was.
People always feel cold, right? Because their blood is a little thinner.
Yeah. I guess. Joan's laughing at me.
I would just say it's environmental. I mean, on average, the humidity there is about 15 to 20% less of what it is here. So it might be a more pleasant humidity.
Do your joints ache a lot too?
Sometimes.
You know, they make supplements for
Less so when I'm in the humidity. So.
Oh, here's another one. Do you find yourself not being able to sleep at night?
Oh, my goodness gracious. Don't even get me started on my inability to sleep. I cannot sleep to save my life.
Does anything ache when, like, there's a storm coming?
No. I'm aching all the time, whether there's a storm coming or not. Why are we talking about this?
Well, for your Geritol checkup.
Oh, my God. You guys are killing me this morning. Very nice. 8335. Let's see here. Because I was talking about the guy who was asking if there was any proof. Maybe it was me who was... I can hear sometimes, I don't know if you're like this, Joan, when you read the text line, but sometimes I've been facing so much hatred for so long from people on the left that I have this tone in my voice, in my head of the voice of the people that ask these kinds of questions.
Yeah.
So the guy was like, the text messages are coming in really fast and furious this morning, but he said, this is how I heard it, right? This is, you know what this is like, Joan? This is like marriage, where, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. And so the wife, let me backtrack. The spouse will say something perhaps perfectly innocent, but to the spouse, you are hearing it as accusatory and mean.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've got an example, and then I'll get to the haterade comment. The other day, Amy was like, hey, did you take out the trash? I heard it as accusatory.
You didn't take out the trash, you son of a gun.
Because I did not take out the trash, and she'd been asking me for, Joan, a full 24 hours, and now it was literally overflowing. So, and I've been a little busy, whatever. I heard it as accusatory, and she said, no, I'm just asking. The reason why you're hearing it as accusatory is because you know you didn't do it. Right? So, 8335, you may have a point. He says, let's see, where in the world are you being so nasty to 7370 simply because they asked a question about algae and water? He says, I'm a Donald Trump supporter and I know all these people. Oh, he says, I know all these people have been arrested, but I still have not seen any video and I haven't seen any pictures of this giant slit. Have you? Am I a nasty hater, something? For asking a question. He says, stop drinking your haterade this morning, Dan, and go back to your Space Cowboy coffee. Thank you. By the way, these days it's not Space Cowboy, it's Wally's Bean Machine, coffee at wallysbeanmachine.com. Fair point. I heard the nasty and accusatory tone from 7370. I heard it as, hey, Mandis, what proof is there that somebody actually cut the liner? As opposed to, hey, Dan, what proof is there that somebody actually cut a slit in the liner? Right? So I heard it in the way that I heard it. So, but there is video out there, and I think I showed it yesterday, the day before, and also the president said there was a slit in the liner as well. So I'm sorry. I'm going to believe the president and the authorities and the video that they have presented, so on and so forth.
I feel like Joan had a point yesterday.
Which was?
Sometimes you mean.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Is this how we're going to start the morning? Is this how we're going to start the morning today?
The
Sam
anger
and Joan
bursts that come like with
at 8335.
age,
Is this how we're going to do this today?
Things and people.
Okay.
And, yeah. It's okay. We're all going to go through it. So we understand. It's, just a part of life. It's a circle of life.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
6403. Hey, a first-time texter. 6403. I am a fuel hauler in Nashville. The big stores, i.e. Sam's, Murphy USA, BJ's, will run through the fuel in the tanks daily. That is why they normally have the lower price. Nick says I'm very mean and condescending. Okay, see, now this is how we're going to start the day today. Thank you all for putting me in an even better mood. You know what? I got here and I was in a fine mood. Trump's numbers are up. Gas prices are going down. I'm feeling okay about Iran this morning. It seems to, go back and forth by the day. But now now this is what I'm dealing with. Okay. Can I bring not only you two, but the listening audience as well to human resources as a hostile work environment? Can I do that?
No.
Joan's like,
Not in my household, not in my neighborhood.
I love all of you. All right, it is 5:26. Joan's got the news at 5:30, Joan.
A couple of local shootings overnight. Pretty crazy. One of them right across the street from our studios. It's insane. I've got the story coming up for you at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning, 5:30 now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We have some sunshine today, and our high will be near 90 degrees. The heat index, though, could be approaching 105 today, and we've got warmer days ahead as well. Two deadly shootings keeping police busy in Nashville and Brentwood overnight. In Nashville, police were called to the Comfort Inn on Demumbrian Street, which is right across from our studios, at around 1 o'clock this morning. Here's Channel 4's Holly Thompson.
Who shot who? That's the question. Officers say they found a man who'd been shot in the head. He was inside one of the hotel rooms. Police found a woman who'd been shot in the parking lot. They're now trying to figure out what led up to that gunfire.
And around the same time in Brentwood, a man was shot dead at the Brentwood apartment home.
Police say a man let another man into his apartment. There was some sort of altercation, and one of the men was shot and killed. Police say they are not searching for any suspects.
Yeah, that is Channel 4's Marius Payton there. We'll have more on both of these shootings as information comes into the newsroom. Well, the Senate has now rejected a measure that was aimed at restricting President Trump's war powers. That is a victory for the president and for Senate GOP leadership as they seek to quell the congressional discontent with the Trump administration's Iran strategy. Also, the fallout from the passage of the War Powers resolution in the Senate before that last night. The situation exploding when President Trump met with Republican senators on the Hill. President Trump reportedly called Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy a lunatic.
Apparently, the president and Cassidy smoothed things over last night. In a total 180, Senator Cassidy changed his vote on the War Powers resolution after getting a special briefing about the Iran war in the Situation Room. Cassidy says the briefing addressed his concerns. Rand Paul was the other Republican senator who changed his vote.
And that is ABC's Karen Waugh reporting. That is the latest news. Traffic's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. That traffic accident in Goodlettsville on 65 southbound now causing a big delay. It's at Rivergate Parkway, stop-and-go traffic from Louisville Highway. It says here from the traffic center that police have removed this off the crash. Oh, but delays are still showing up in the cameras. So, yeah, you're going to have to be careful there as you're approaching that 65 south at Rivergate because there is a pretty big delay now. East Bank on 24, the westbound lanes at James Robertson Parkway. Watch the crash there is blocking off the right shoulder. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
537 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Nick is asking a question, Joan.
What is it?
Joan, please confirm something for me. I just listened to your newscast, and the guy who was shot in the head and killed immediately, you said apparently the police are not looking for any suspects. Right. Is that correct?
Yes.
You murder somebody and the police don't look for you, but from what it sounds like, the other person is also dead.
That could be the case.
So there's two
people. It could also be the case that, so there were two shootings.
Yeah.
So I think he's talking about the one in Brentwood where somebody was killed inside an apartment and they say they're not looking for suspects. It could be that the suspect stayed on the scene. It could be that suspect is also injured. So
could it also be a suicide?
It could be. Yes, it could be. Okay. So, yeah, we have to wait for more information, which is what I said at the end of the newscast. We don't know all the details of this story yet. They're still coming out.
So we were driving in this morning and there is apparently, is it two people were shot and killed in
at the Comfort
next door?
Inn, next door to us.
Do you know how many times I've stayed at the Comfort Inn?
You have?
Yeah.
Seedy little place. No, I'm only kidding. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Well, no. It is seedy. Two people were just killed there.
Yeah.
Well, can we be honest? We're not in a great area.
Right.
We are near the naked statues, right on off Dunmunbrian.
I think we're right on the cusp of being in a nice area, but we're still on the bad side of the fence. Also, right down the street was that accident where the people who stole a car ran through the red light and hit those two people that were here, that were visitors, and they ended up lodging the car into a restaurant and then getting out of the car and running away. They've never been found.
And people wonder why there is a light coming off of 40, Dunmunbrian, and there's a light that literally it takes forever.
It's the one I run every morning.
We all run it. And every morning show host that we've had, I can't speak to Ralph, but I know that Brian used to run it.
Yeah.
I run it every single time. I know that Weaves would run it. Johnny B would run it. You run it. Sam, do you run it?
No cop, no stop.
We all run it. You know why? Because bad things happen in our neighborhood.
There's always the guy sleeping across the street on the chair.
Yeah.
Wow. So, yeah, we're just not in a great area. And,
and Trevor says Nashville isn't a great area anymore, by and large.
Yeah.
Listen, I still love Nashville. I love coming in to Nashville during the day, where I park at a restaurant or at the arena, and I go in, and then I leave.
Yeah. Yep.
But coming in so early just kind of blows.
Well, my wife and I were just talking last night how it used to be fun to do 4th of July somewhere around downtown area, but now it's such a tourist destination for everybody, it's just insufferable. I'd rather go out to a smaller town and watch them shoot over the lake or something.
Yeah, that's good too. I think I did it last year. Well, I'm going to disagree with you. Last year, Amy and I came down to Nashville, and we had one of the best times ever, 4th of July, and watching the fireworks. We walked around. We went down to the amphitheater. I forget what the name of it is down there, just near the station where they do concerts. Ascend. We watched the fireworks from Ascend. I don't really care much about the tourists. I was able to go and check out the fireworks, and we had a great time. But again, sometimes things get a little sketch. There is, I want to get to, I think I'm going to call this segment Jones World. Now, when I say that this is Jones World, I want you to think of Wayne's World. But then just put in the word Joan. So every morning at this time, Joan and sometimes Sam too, They're going to throw some topics in that I really don't know much, if anything, about. And we are all collectively, as a group, just going to react. And so Sam brought this story to me. It is the story of a pastor for Life Tabernacle Church, where this guy is a pastor. There's video of him beating the living crap out of somebody, a pastor. And so there's a story behind this. You folks watching on Super Talk TV, I've got the video of Tony Spell beating the crap out of a guy and his explanation. Real quickly, he's been charged with what? The pastor has been charged with what?
He has been charged with second-degree battery, which is a felony in the state of Louisiana. The victim had injuries including a possible broken orbital bone, which is basically around your eye socket on your cheekbone area. Right. Spell posted a $25,000 bond on the same day and was released.
All right, so here's what happened.
So while I'm working on our bus fleet, one of the men across the street is walking up and down the shoulder. He's shouting vulgarities, profanities, and very nasty words. I'm quoting him. He said, "Tony, I'm going to rape your wife. I'm going to rape all of your grandchildren." And he said, "The next time you go out of town, I'm going to kill them. And what the F are you going to do about it?"
So just for people listening on the radio, the preacher with this video, you've got this guy looks a little insane, right? And he's yelling all of these, apparently these vulgarities. He's got his phone up like people do, like he's videoing the pastor as he's coming across the street. The pastor gets dude in a headlock and is just
beating the snot out of him.
It's like, you know what it's like? It's like Nolan Ryan beating the crap out of Ventura. The ball player, you guys remember all that?
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, so, and then the pastor gets him on the ground and just starts beating the living daylights out of him.
End quote. I can't allow a man to rape my wife. I can't allow a man to rape my grandchildren. I will not allow a man to murder my children when I'm gone. The next time you leave, I'm going to kill your family. What the F are you going to do about it?
I love it. And well, you know what? FAFO, mess around and find out. Because by the end of the video, the guy is crying for his mommy, and if this pastor wasn't on top of him, he would be in the fetal position, Joan.
Yeah, I mean, he hurt that guy.
He did. And he had to go get, I guess it was the guy that got beaten up.
Yeah.
He had to get 5 stitches.
A broken orbital bone, pretty painful too.
Yeah.
So I'm glad.
Hey, listen. Yeah, right?
Oh, it gets a little better. So he addressed his congregation about this, and this is what he had to say.
Shall lay hands on the sick. They shall lay hands on the sick. And they shall recover. So today, Brother Merritt and all of you, I fulfill the scripture. I lay hands on the sick. I don't know how much recovery.
So you're going to have to explain that, Sam. It's hard to hear. What did he say?
So he's addressing the congregation out of a verse, I think in Matthew, where it says to go and lay hands on the sick. I tried to get the volume up as much as possible. And then he says, I fulfilled the scripture. I went and laid hands on the sick. And then his congregation cheers. I mean,
you know, there should be such a thing as a justifiable beatdown.
There is.
Like if somebody is threatening to rape your wife and kill your children, I think you're justified to beat the living crap out of them. And the guy, obviously, you don't say that unless you're sick. And this guy was obviously sick, and he's also a sinner. And I would be interested to know if the guy that got beaten up, is he being charged with anything? I mean, he was threatening the man's wife and threatening to kill his children as well. A very justified beatdown and a very satisfying FAFO. Joan. Talk about the
All right. So
Solar-powered speakers. This is really interesting.
This is so freaky, and I think you're going to like this, Sam. So there's a couple of horseback riders are up on Mount Shasta in California. And they're going through a trail, and you can go ahead and start this video because it's. I'll talk you through it. So they're on horses, and they're going through, and they discover that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of these solar-powered speakers. So these speakers have a spike on the bottom, and they stick in the ground, and on top is a solar panel, and these speakers are giving off pretty much a white noise sound, all in unison. It sounds so weird.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's thousands of them. And the other interesting thing, Joan, for people listening on the radio, is they're not uniform. They're just all over the place.
Yeah, they're all over.
Yeah.
So they wondered, and the woman in this video says, obviously they're summoning somebody or something in the middle of Mount Shasta.
She's not joking.
Yeah, I mean, it's really weird.
What I wonder is maybe there's some sort of an insect or something that they're trying to ward off.
I think they're calling aliens. That's what I think. Yeah.
That's where you're going to go.
Oh, yeah. The little green men are coming down out of the sky right now.
I think they were having troubles with some sort of an insect that was hurting their crop or whatever.
Okay.
And so they're trying to use whatever that noise is to keep them at bay. If I could figure out how to keep the darn wasps out of my backyard, I would do the same thing.
So apparently that video obviously is now circulated. A horseback rider recently discovered hundreds or even thousands of these solar-powered speakers scattered across Mount Shasta mountains, emitting white noise and occasional voices.
Yeah, you can hear
over a wide area.
There's a weird voice in there too. Yeah.
So Grok thinks, and this is through Facebook, but this sounds like an unusual, possibly art installation, monitoring or otherwise unexplained phenomena.
All right.
That's
You know what I'll do? I'll put that video up on my X account so people can check it out for themselves.
Yeah, and what do people think it is?
So go to the next one because this is kind of interesting.
Yep.
So on 4th of July, lefties think that they're going to crash the banking system. Check this lady out.
All right, so here it is.
It's time for the bank run, y'all. Prepare yourself. Start moving your money, whether it's digitally, physically, what have you, to a credit union that is not owned by billionaires but owned by the community. Leave a tiny little bit left in the big bank. On July 4th, we're all going to take that money that we a little bit left out at the same time. It's going to trigger an FDI freeze, i.e. a banking system collapse, i.e. rich people's assets will lose value, i.e. their stocks will lose value. This is one of the ways we can crush the billionaire.
There you go. That's it. So she believes that on the 4th of July, when you do that, it's a federal holiday.
Yeah.
And, the banking system doesn't really register those kind of things on a federal holiday.
Well, the thing is, she's talking. I'm so tired of the attacks on billionaires. It's so dumb. Yeah. Whatever. But this is would you call this? What would you call this? Would you call this an attempted anarchy?
Oh,
What would you call this? I mean, besides just dumb. She says they want to move it to community banks or community credit unions.
Yeah.
How many community credit unions are there anymore? Anyway, I mean,
there really are plenty, but you have to apply to get into the credit union for one thing.
Yeah.
And you get shares of the credit union, so you're.
Yeah.
But people, by and large, are going to keep their money in the mainframe banks.
Yeah.
Banking system. It's just the oddest thing that something to look out for.
They will. The people on the left, they will do anything to try to either disrupt Donald Trump, disrupt Elon Musk. The part of this is this hatred for Elon Musk, right? It's the hatred for Elon Musk. Oh, gosh, he's a trillionaire. Did I hear he's no longer a trillionaire, by the way?
I don't know.
Somebody reported somewhere that Elon is no longer a trillionaire.
He's only worth $950 billion.
See, the leftists worked.
Yeah,
Whatever they
that'll
did,
fix 'em.
they cost them, a couple of $1 billion.
All right, Dan, go to the one that says this is absolutely hilarious because it's I'm just like in love with this kid who goes to his parents with a little card that he created. And I would say this kid is probably maybe 6 years old, 7 years old. And what happened is his brother just finished his swimming lessons. So he made a certificate for his brother. And he presents it to his parents. He says, "Look what I got for my brother." Okay,
It's a little Post-it note. Am I playing the audio?
yeah, you're gonna play the
All right, so
audio.
listen to
It's
this.
totally
What is it?
cool.
It's a certificate for Brendan finishing swimming lessons.
So he's got this little Post-it, and it's got little kid writing on it. And is there any more audio, Joan? Do you want me to keep playing the audio?
You can continue to play it. It's just they're kind of trying to draw out of him what he did it for. It's cute.
So, but let's talk about how he spelled certificate.
Yeah, go
Those
ahead.
kids could read, they'd be very upset.
SRITFUCKIT is how he
It's
spelled
the phonetic
certificate.
spelling of certificate.
So much funny.
This is certificate. This is Brendan in the water. This is Brady swimming underwater. This is pool certificate. And this says Brendan. And this says love Brady.
Oh, wow, I love it, buddy. I love it. You're very sweet.
Wow, and he sticks a whole donut or something in his mouth.
Yeah.
For people watching on Super Talk
And
TV.
mom and dad are looking at each other.
Oh, yeah,
over
they're
the counter
laughing.
going, "Oh my gosh, this is the greatest."
Hey, am I the only one that wants to go on a field trip to the new Dolly Parton? I don't know. It's like
Travel stop.
Yeah, it's a travel stop. It's like a Buc-ee's thing.
Yeah.
but it's called Dolly's.
Dolly's, I think it's Dolly's Travel Stop.
And so yesterday, what city is it in?
Cornersville.
Cornersville. Somebody help me. How far is Cornersville from here?
It's not that far. It's right on 65 southbound. It'll take you, I think, less than an hour to get there.
So she, I guess, had the grand opening yesterday.
Yeah.
And this is what she said. Dolly is there at Dolly's.
I'm sure some of you wondering why I wanted a truck stop. Well, I couldn't leave it to beavers.
All right.
I couldn't leave it to beavers.
Mm-hmm.
How's everybody doing today out in that hot boiling sun?
So it's called Dolly's Tennessee Coffee Shop.
And she, by the way, I did this part of the story yesterday after you left.
Mm-hmm.
She has new coffee out. Remember the song 9 to 5?
Yeah, of course.
She pours a cup of ambition.
Yes.
So she has a new coffee out called Cup of Ambition.
Oh, really?
And they're selling it there at the travel stop. So she looked terrific yesterday. If she's sick, and as we've all been seeing, she's canceled some appearances. She looks fantastic. So that's really good news.
So one of the differences, I'm trying to figure out the differences between Buc-ee's and Dolly's.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, you've been to a Buc-ee's?
Oh,
okay,
many times.
So it looks like Dolly's place has a little diner restaurant.
Yeah.
Buc-ee's does not have that. It also looks like they have a little dog park, which is good because, people oftentimes, if you go to Buc-ee's, you always see people who have stopped and they've got pets and their dogs are going doo-doo where the dogs go doo-doo on the grass. I don't know what other differences there might be between.
There's a shop that has sparkling Dolly Parton merch.
Yeah, they got merch.
Buy. There's a performance stage where she's going to host people there having performances.
Okay.
Full service restaurant and bar. A tour tour bus for photo ops.
Yeah, it was her tour bus.
Yeah.
All right.
So it looks.
Right.
I mean, it's a little different. It's more honky tonk stop
Yes.
than it is, Buc-ee's. Come get your pulled pork sandwich.
As it should be. I really like Buc-ee's. I'm sort of over it though, to be perfectly honest. I don't know why.
Brian
I've been
Wilson
there.
is punching air at that statement.
Well, that's okay. That's all right. Oh, is he a big Buc-ee's fan?
Huge.
All right. Well.
I saw a kid at a wedding recently, and he had a suit on that was it was the Buc-ee's logo all over his suit. And, of course, he was the star of the show.
2222, Dan, it's actually a truck stop, not a gas station. All right.
They have gas.
5:56, Super Talk 99.7. Joan's got the news coming up at 6 o'clock. Joan.
Hey, have you ever heard of the Zizians cult?
No.
Okay, I'm going to tell you about it and what just happened with one of the cult members coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning. It's now 6 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The death toll stands at 32 now, with 700 people injured after a pair of earthquakes in Venezuela last night.
Crowds gathering around collapsed buildings, told to keep silent as first responders yelled out to people buried in the rubble. Victims pulled from beneath buildings. Officials warning the casualties could be high. part of the Caracas airport collapsing in a cloud of dust. People still inside. The quakes are the largest to hit Venezuela in more than a century. The last 24 hours have seen smaller earthquakes from Japan to the U.S.
That is ABC's Sophie Flay reporting. Surprising members of his own party, President Trump canceled the signing of a bipartisan housing bill yesterday that was meant to make housing more affordable.
The bill would restrict Wall Street investors from buying single-family homes and would reduce red tape to make it easier to build new housing. Trump's own press secretary called it one of the most significant pieces of housing affordability legislation in American history. But Trump yesterday dismissed the issue as a matter of minor importance and demanded Congress first sign his voter ID bill, which would require Americans to show proof of citizenship to register to vote. That bill is stalled in the Senate.
Actually, that is ABC's Karen. While that bill actually passed with a veto-proof majority, it'll take effect without the president's signature. An alleged cult member, her name is Michelle Zyko, is now charged in the murder of her own parents in Pennsylvania. Prosecutors say that it means 2 more deaths are now linked to a notorious group. They're called the Zizians across multiple states.
The Zizians, described by authorities as a cult that shares radical beliefs about veganism, animal rights, and gender identity. They're now linked to 6 deaths in 3 states, including the killing of a Border Patrol agent during a highway shootout in Vermont last year.
That is ABC's Andrea Fujii. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
It was the tale of 2 stock markets on Wednesday, with slumping tech shares again dragging down the S&P and the NASDAQ, 0.1% and 0.4% respectively. The Dow Jones, on the other hand, gained 182 points and closed at 51,849. The building boom in artificial intelligence may be adding to inflation and helping to drive up prices on all sorts of things that consumers are trying to buy. The Wall Street Journal says the biggest AI companies have spent over $740 billion this year alone on new data centers. Increasing demand is driving up prices, especially for computer memory, which in turn is rippling across large parts of the economy, from video games to phones.
That is ABC's Jim Ryan. Stock futures this morning pointing up. We've got Dow futures plus 128, NASDAQ futures gaining 650. S&P index futures are up 55 points. You say that 3 times fast. That is the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, so we still have that crash in Goodlettsville causing some trouble on I-65 South before Long Hollow Pike. It's just very slow going, but that crash has been cleared. There's a new crash, however, involved in all of that mess this morning, so be careful. 65 South in Talbot's Corner past Trinity Lane. That's another crash scene with it blocking the right shoulder. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.607 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Text line is open 615-737-9986. And we have a little bit of cleanup to do from the last segment. So we asked the big question, and that is, what is the big difference between Buc-ee's and Dolly's? And we named a couple of differences. But a lot of folks pointed out, remember, Buc-ee's is not welcoming to truckers, and Dolly's is. Yeah. That is the biggest, I would say, the biggest difference between Buc-ee's and Dolly's. Now, Joan, you just sent me something. And
I cannot believe I saw this.
Yeah, so this is, and again, this is going to be something, this is not in my actual stack of stuff, but apparently Ted Lieu.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Who is a
nutball.
He is one of the nutballs. Like, he's one of those not so moderates on the left. He's a congressman, right? He's not a senator. He's a
congressman from California.
Okay, of course. Land of fruits and nuts. So he says that Donald Trump has a terminal illness?
Yes.
Was this a story like yesterday?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I totally missed this. Maybe nobody's taking him seriously, but where is he? Do we know?
I don't know where he's speaking. Oh, well, he's speaking at the House because he's got the House flag behind him.
Okay.
But he's holding a news conference saying that President Trump, he thinks, is the recipient of a drug from Eli Lilly that was given under special consideration to one single American who is 79 years old. President Trump is 80, who's 79 years old and has a terminal illness. And he thinks it might be President Trump.
All right. So this is that audio.
Today, what's causing him to chicken out again? Is it Taco Wednesday? Or is it side effects from a drug? We don't know. This erratic behavior of the president is very concerning. He has trouble staying awake at multiple White House events and cabinet meetings. He has clearly some weakness in one of his arms. He's got swelling in his hands. And the White House needs to come clean. What we know is there's a report saying that one person in America got this special new drug. It was a 79-year-old person who was very high profile, and this drug can only be given to someone under the compassionate use provision, meaning you do that if someone basically has a terminal illness. So we need to know, did Donald Trump get this special drug from Eli Lilly? And did he get it under that provision? And if he did, why is that the case?
So one of the things that I would ask is, number one, give me a flip and break. Where were you with Joe Biden? That's the obvious thing that I would say. But the other thing that I would say, just at first blush, when the media reported this, did they report it where they said Congressman Ted Lieu says, without evidence, that Donald Trump is taking this drug from Eli Lilly? Because, they love that whenever Donald Trump or a Republican says something about anything, the media will always say, well, the Republicans, Donald Trump says, without evidence. So I'm curious as to whether or not they'll hang that without evidence moniker on Congressman Ted Lieu, because there is no evidence. Where is he getting this from?
Yeah, that's an incredible accusation to make about the president of the United States with zero evidence. And I hope President Trump goes after him. Although I feel like he's doing it to get to bait him on.
Bait the president?
Yeah.
Well, maybe Joan, that is his plan.
Yes.
Maybe his
Yes.
plan is to bait Donald Trump into a public debate, and that forces the issue. But I just think that Donald Trump is 80 years old. He's tired. He has said, my hand looks the way that it does because I spend all this time shaking hands. And he also said the reason why he sometimes, apparently, has problems staying awake in his cabinet meetings is because they're boring as heck. I mean, he's literally said that. So anyway, I had not seen that story. So thank you for bringing that up, John.
The craziness, the just absolute insanity.
Even though we just had his most public physical, what was it, May 26th of this year from Walter Reed?
Yeah.
Says he's in excellent health.
Yeah, I would just ask the question, okay, so what evidence do you have, even just from the videos of Donald Trump out? Okay, so he'll close it. If he's nodding off, okay, then he needs to figure out how to stay awake. But number one, we know that the man doesn't sleep a lot. He doesn't necessarily need a lot of sleep, clearly. But I mean, other than that, he'll sit there, Joan, you know this as well as I do. He'll sit there for hours answering questions off the cuff with seemingly no problem. So I just
30 out of 30 on his cognitive test.
Yeah.
Oh, but they all say that it's a lie. But then after he spars with the Senate last night over the Iran powers resolution, all of that, and the Senate backed off. What did he do? Goes out onto stage and does his dance. You know, the dance that he does.
He had a massive event last night.
Yeah.
So,
the Great American Fair, State Fair out there on stage, and there were flyovers and bands, and he's dancing. And
they kicked it off last night. Trump kicked it off. It was a great. They treated it almost like a rally, and I mean, I've seen a few highlights of his speech. I mean, it was pretty standard fare for Donald Trump, of course, but you know. He seems pretty cognizant to me. He seems like he knows exactly what he's doing and what he's saying.
I think this is where they may have him, though. He's gained 14 pounds in the last year. That must be what's doing it.
That's a lot of Big Macs, but whatever. You know what? Okay, so what's the guy's name that everybody said smelled really bad? New York Congressman?
Jerry Adler.
Jerry Nadler. High Pants Jerry. So
he does look like he smells like a nursing home.
Jerry Nadler, the word was that Jerry Nadler like smelled like an adult diaper. Like that's what they say. I'm sorry. Moving right along.
Gross.
Coming up. I'm sorry. What is going on in Iran? We're going to talk about that next. It is coming up on 6:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. Sunny today, 89. The heat index is going to feel like it's 105. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. The relationship between President Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu is highlighted in a new book where it is alleged that President Trump told the Israeli Prime Minister, "All the Jews are sick of you," as the president was trying to broker a peace deal between Israel and Hamas. This was supposedly back in September of 2025. The president, this is what they say in this book. The president was on the call with Netanyahu, son-in-law Jared Kushner, envoy Steve Witkoff, when they became frustrated with the prime minister following an Israeli strike on Qatar. That's when Trump unleashed, according to the book, "Everybody's sick of you, Bibi. All the Jews are sick of you," Trump reportedly said to Netanyahu as he tried to pitch the Israeli leader on Kushner's 20-point peace plan. Then, referencing Witkoff and Kushner, he added, "Even the two Jews on this call are sick of you." Kushner was reported to have said, telling an ally, "I'm freaking out. The Israelis are crazy." Trump, who had a strong relationship, does have a strong relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu, then demanded he stick to the peace deal, which was announced 2 days after the call. And now there's some people that are saying that this is sort of controversial. I don't know why this is considered controversial. Donald Trump is probably the first American president that has spoken to Benjamin Netanyahu in this way. I mean, you've had other presidents on the Democrat side who basically have ignored Netanyahu, or the relationship hasn't been that close. But Trump, I mean, he's willing to, really speak to Benjamin Netanyahu, quite frankly, in a way that he needs to be spoken to. The president apparently saying, you cannot back out of this. I'm the best friend Israel ever had. Saying everybody hates you and I've stood by you. This is a great deal for Israel. Now, I don't believe that everybody hates Benjamin Netanyahu either. But anyway, this is that new book. We were talking about this yesterday. It is called Regime Change. I don't know how true this is, but honestly, it does make sense because the president has been very forceful in his conversations with Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, here's a headline. The Israeli defense minister is now saying that the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, will not withdraw from southern Lebanon, even if the U.S. demands it. This is part of the news cycle yesterday and today's name. Guy's name is Israel Katz. His comment is the first time any top Israeli official has publicly said they would go against the U.S. regarding Lebanon after 2 weeks of avoidance, stressing the danger posed to soldiers as long as Hezbollah remains armed. He said Israel will not withdraw from southern Lebanon, even if there is an American demand. So this is a pretty big deal because if you listen to this show, you know that the Iranians have made this a very big part of the negotiation. You want the Strait of Hormuz opened. You want us to agree to the terms of this memorandum of understanding. Israel has got to back down. And Donald Trump has asked Israel to back down. Israel, at least according to this guy, will not back down, will not remove themselves from southern Lebanon where Hezbollah is. Now, you remember a couple of days ago, there were reports, I think it was in the usual places, the Washington Post or the New York Times, that Netanyahu was going to try and sabotage the deal with Iran because they didn't like the deal. Secretary of State Marco Rubio was asked about this yesterday. Got some video here, if I could. Sam, this is what Marco Rubio said.
Do you believe, as some elements of U.S. intelligence have assessed, that Israel is interested in undermining the current MOU?
I don't know what intelligence are you talking about?
It's been reported.
But it's being reported, then it's fake.
Do you believe that to be true?
I don't know where you're getting that stuff from. We're working on this. The Israelis are exactly know what we're working on. All of our partners in the region know what we're working on. Everybody understands what the president's red lines and positions are on this. I don't know what reports you're referencing.
All right, so that is the Secretary of State. I guess the big question is, how will the president handle this latest issue? I don't know, because Israel and Hezbollah, it's a major issue for Iran, as I said. You know the drill. Iran orders Hezbollah to fire at Israel. Israel fires back, usually more deadly and precise than the rockets Hezbollah will fire. Then Iran screams about it and uses the Israeli attack to make trouble, either pulling out of the deal, closing the strait, so on and so forth. So this is a pretty big deal. But again, we've seen this oftentimes where they'll say some of these things out of Israel. The president gets Netanyahu on the phone and they tend to work things out. One of the other things that, of course, is now going on is that President Trump is getting blasted at every turn for lifting the sanctions on oil production out of Iran. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says, look, it is important for Iran to see what life is like and their finances are like without sanctions.
It is a carrot that we can always pull back. We want them to see what it feels like not having the sanctions on, and then we can always put them back on.
Their economy is hurting, though, obviously. Devastated.
Devastated. They got more than 100% inflation. Troops weren't getting paid. So we have laid their economy to waste, and that's what brought them to the table.
So when you hear the Iranians, maybe it's the IRGC, with this public relations saying the IAEA inspectors are not coming, the Strait of Hormuz is closed, all of these things day to day get picked up.
What amazes me is the same people, a lot of the hawks in the U.S. who say, you can't believe anything the Iranians say unless they say it about the negotiations, right? Like, believe them for the negotiations. Remember Baghdad Bob from Iraq? It's kind of Tehran Tim, right? Like, it's just a lot of big talk, and let's just see how this cooks out. But I'm optimistic.
All right, so he is optimistic. I'm optimistic this morning. I'm going to be honest with you. I am. And all of that is true. Their economy, Iran's economy, is in big trouble, and all the other things about a destroyed military, all of that is true. We all know. The Strait of Hormuz, I think I heard, let's see here. Yeah, they ran dozens of vessels through the Strait of Hormuz yesterday, as a matter of fact. So what Scott Bessent says is making sense. The question is, what does the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the guys in charge of Iran and who we are negotiating with, what do they value? Above all, they value their ability to make weapons of mass destruction. They don't really care about any of that other stuff. They certainly don't care about the people of Iran. Now, I had hoped that they would be swayed by that carrot that he's talking about. But the longer this goes on, the more I wonder if they'll ever go legit. Meantime, you had this.
And last week, we signed a historic agreement to end the conflict with Iran, fully open the Strait of Hormuz, and accomplish what no president has ever been able to accomplish before. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. That's done. Since the agreement, the stock market and your 401ks are skyrocketing upward, and oil prices are plummeting downward. Today, it hit a new low, and the world is a much safer place. We had to make that little journey to Iran to do what we did. Very soon, you'll be at $2.50 a gallon for gasoline.
All right, so that is President Trump last night at that big-time rally. And by all accounts, a great speech. There's a lot of great audio that is out there. I'll try to play some of it. I have a very busy show this morning. Joan, if you don't mind, I hope you have the ability to do this. I've got EJ and Tony coming up. We are going to talk about oil prices and the like. Where are the futures at right now? Trump is saying $2.50 a gallon in no time.
So you're talking about oil?
Oil futures, yeah.
So the Brent crude price is at $72 a barrel, but the West Texas crude, intermediary crude, is at $69 a barrel. So we're below $70. I mean, it's a mark that hasn't been seen in a long time, and at every step, of the way down, gas prices are just they will plummet. It's going to come. But it's not at the immediate moment, but it will happen.
All right,
so
very good.
Hopefully he'll be able to tell us more.
Thank you, Joan. 6:24. Joan's got the news coming up at 6:30. Joan.
Yeah, a big bust of drones dropping drugs into some local prisons. Whew. Wait till you hear this story. It's coming up at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 6:24, Nashville's Morning News. Listen, friends, you know it and I know it. The real estate market, it has shifted. And homes are staying on the market longer. So if that is going on with you, maybe a neighbor, maybe a family member, maybe a friend, and they can't or you can't get out of your home. There's a couple of homes in my neighborhood that have been on the market for months. You've got to pick up the phone. You've got to call my friends at Mark Spain Real Estate. Their guaranteed offer is going to get you out of your home in no time. I always recommend Mark Spain Real Estate to my friends and family here in Nashville because I can trust they are going to sell your home very quickly with a strong all-cash offer. As a matter of fact, with Mark Spain Real Estate, they sell over 4 homes every single hour, making them the most experienced real estate team in America. You can trust them to sell your home hassle-free and for maximum value, and also incredibly quickly. 72,000 satisfied clients cannot be wrong. Check them out if you're stuck in your home, if somebody you love is stuck in their home and they can't move on to that next chapter in their lives. Call my friends at Mark Spain Real Estate, 855-299-SOLD. They can help you. 855-299-SOLD. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com. It's start packing. Times are tough these days, my friends, and nobody knows that more than my friends at Middle Tennessee Ford. You know why? They know times are tough because they spend every single day trying to help people get into a new car. They're here, just like they have been for the last 56 years, trying to help Middle Tennesseans. Now, right now at Mid-10 Ford, they're offering you employee pricing, which means that what they pay, you pay, which translates to some pretty big time savings at a time when you might really need it. So if you need a new vehicle, check out my new friends at Mid-10 Ford. Now that's exactly how they've lasted for so long. 4 generations of working with people to get them into the vehicle they need and will love. You tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. They've got a low-pressure approach and no gimmicks or pushy sales tactics. Just honest folks helping you find the right car with a price that you can afford. You can even go online and do your shopping there. They offer mobile pickup and delivery for service and oil changes. They make it easy. They are Mid-10 Ford. Click or come on by. It's mid10fordtrucks.com, mid10fordtrucks.com. Find them on Facebook and Instagram. You can call them 615-949-2737, or you can check them out in person, 1319 Foster Avenue. Mid-10 Ford, where trust comes first.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Stick around. The full forecast and traffic comes up in 5 minutes. Rescue teams are racing to Venezuela to help find people buried under the rubble of collapsed buildings after a pair of powerful earthquakes hit that country last night. The death toll now at 164, and officials expect the death toll to reach the thousands. This morning, Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying that at President Trump's direction, the U.S. is deploying search teams, medical resources, and humanitarian aid to Venezuela.
And other countries are responding as well. The Qataris have already offered assistance, as we spoke to them earlier today as well. El Salvador has stepped up, and multiple countries around the region, including Chile and others, have reached out to us to communicate and get that happening.
The quakes briefly triggered tsunami advisories in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, but those tsunami warnings were later canceled. In local news, 12 people are facing charges in a multi-state scheme to smuggle contraband into prisons in Tennessee and in Kentucky and 6 other states, including Georgia. Here's U.S. Attorney for Georgia, William Keyes.
At least 38 drone drops are alleged using 6 separate drones. The contraband included drugs like methamphetamine, K2, Suboxone, and marijuana. And the contraband included cell phones, weapons and escape tools, and tobacco. And this contraband was intended for the prison population, threatening the safety of all.
Now, that during a press conference with federal officials. Now, one case in Georgia, officials said the drugs were kept at a daycare center before being launched to a nearby prison. That is the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
You know, the other day we were talking about the Glock Store's amazing YouTube channel. We're talking about hundreds of videos and over 600,000 subscribers. It really is where 2A comes to learn from Lenny. That's right, Lenny McGill, showing how to install the most popular Glock performance parts step by step. You know, people watch from all over the country looking to improve their Glocks and accuracy. But since you live here in Middle Tennessee, you can get those installations for free right there at the Glock Store in Nashville. That's right. You buy the parts at the Glock Store in Nashville. They are going to do the install while you wait, and you pay nothing. This is just another reason why I'm a Glock Store customer, and I'm proud to be an endorser as well. Remember, I've bought all my Glocks at the Glock Store. I've done my training. I buy my bullets at the Glock Store as well. This is my two-way connection, and it should be yours as well. The Glock Store, minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. Shoot270.com and Glockstore.com, and don't forget the YouTube channel.
Yeah, they're still working in Talbot's Corner on 65 South on a crash that's off to the right shoulder at Trinity Lane. Nashboro Village, it's Murfreesboro Pike at Bell Road. You'll find a crash. Another one in Belmead at Harding Place at Percy Warner Boulevard. And in Fairview, I-840 eastbound past Pinewood Road. Watch out for an accident there. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.636 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Very soon you'll be at $2.50 a gallon for gasoline.
That is President Trump last night with his big speech in Washington, D.C. Want to bring in E.J. Antoni. He is somebody who we talk to often, issues related to the economy and gasoline prices and so forth. EJ, you just heard, and by the way, senior economist for the Heritage Foundation. EJ, you just heard Donald Trump say that very soon gasoline will be back to $2.50 a gallon. Thumbs up, thumbs down. True, not true? What do you think?
It depends on what you mean by soon. I guess is the best way to put it. Look, here's part of the problem. Although we have the Strait of Hormuz open and although oil is starting to flow, and you're probably going to have production almost at pre-war levels, the issue is that the entire world has depleted their reserves. Here at home, for example, we have our Strategic Petroleum Reserve run by the government, but we also have private stockpiles run by the oil industry itself. And all of that has been seriously depleted in order to deal with the supply shock from the Iran war. And that's what prevented us, by the way, from getting to $200 a barrel oil. We flooded the world with supply from our stockpiles, from our reserves. Well, all those things have to be refilled now. So that represents a huge increase in demand, which is going to essentially help keep prices a little higher. In other words, we're not going back down to $60 a barrel anytime soon, most likely.
So one of the things that has been interesting, and you and I have spoken before about how the oil infrastructure in the Middle East has also been impacted and damaged. And so it's going to take a while for the Middle East, I guess, to get back to full production?
Exactly. 100% right. Essentially, you're going to see, because some of that oil infrastructure has been damaged or destroyed, it's going to need to be repaired or rebuilt, therefore. So what you're going to see is other oil infrastructure essentially have to operate at capacity in order to try to make up for that lost production elsewhere. But you're talking about infrastructure that was already operating near capacity. So instead of, let's say, 90% now, it's at 100% of capacity. In other words, there's not much of a fudge factor there. There wasn't a lot of wiggle room to begin with. So production will still be down slightly, most likely, coming out of the Middle East. And you're going to see production out of places like here in the United States or Russia, South America. You're going to see those production levels try to go up a bit in order to counter that lost production, again, coming out of the Middle East.
One of the things, and EJ, you and I talked about this before, and I'm curious if there's been an update, but there were some OPEC countries who said that they were going to start producing oil outside of OPEC with the hope that that would do something to help alleviate the production numbers and alleviate gas prices. So what have we seen? That was like a 1 or 2 day story. Then it disappeared. Hey, has there been any kind of an update on these Middle Eastern countries as members of OPEC saying, you know what, we're going to go ahead and do our own thing outside of OPEC? Have we seen any movement on that?
No further movement on that. And I think the reason why it was really only a story for 24 hours, part of that is just simply the fact that the news cycle with the Iran war has shifted from, look, it's not even a 24-hour news cycle anymore. It has shifted to a 24-second news cycle, right? You get a tweet that says one thing, and then a few minutes later, you get a tweet that says something totally different, and that's how you get these insane market swings. The Dow is up 1,000, it's down 1,000. I mean, it's just absolutely insane, but that sadly is kind of where we're at today. But the other part of the problem is the fact that, OPEC still has a lot of pricing power. And so a single member leaving is not going to break up the entire cartel. And then the other factor is what we started this conversation with the war ending, with the Strait of Hormuz opening back up. Now the supply shock is replaced with a demand shock. There is now such a huge demand for more oil because everyone's trying to refill their reserves that essentially, even if you don't have an OPEC cartel, the world can only produce so much oil at once right now, given our current infrastructure. And so whether or not you have a cartel, the bigger factor is simply just the physical limitations on production right now.
E.J. Antoni is joining us, senior economist for the Heritage Foundation. I should have followed up with you, and I this may not be fair, but when I asked what you thought about Trump and saying $2.50 a gallon soon, we'll be paying, and you said it depends on what you mean by soon. Do you actually have any kind of a prediction? I know that's probably unfair.
Yeah, I mean, part of the difficulty, again, just goes back to the idea of this news cycle with Iran. It's just constantly changing. It genuinely depends on what happens in the Middle East. And unfortunately, as we have seen for the last 4 months or 5 months, it's just impossible to know that. So things have literally changed minute by minute. However, let's say a kind of a best case scenario, I think you're probably looking at a national average below $3 early next year.
Early next year. Okay. I would say very good, but the midterms are in November. So one of the other things I guess we had, and I'm hearing conflicting stories, and you're right about the news cycle, man. It is just, I think it's every 6 hours things are changing. But, yesterday, at least I heard this morning, 69 vessels traveled through the Strait of Hormuz. Does that jive with what you know? And what was the average before the war? And what needs to happen to have that full capacity going through the strait?
Well, before the war, I mean, you would regularly get 120. So you're still way down from pre-war levels. And it is a bit annoying when people say things like, "Oh, this is the highest level we've seen in months." Okay, yeah, that's true. But you're talking about comparing right now to when the strait was completely closed, and occasionally a ship would try to run the strait at night with its lights off and its transponder off. Like that, don't talk about war levels. Look at pre-war levels. That's the context you really need when they talk about record numbers of ships going through the strait. That's very deceptive. Okay, traffic and volume is still way down. I do think that's going to continue improving as we get greater clarity from both the United States and Iran in terms of what the rules are in the region and what the rules are for traffic going through the strait. So fingers crossed, again, best case scenario, we can get back up to those pre-war levels relatively soon. In fact, I think there's actually a good chance, Dan, that you surpass those pre-war levels because, again, there's going to be such a surge in demand. There already is. And there's going to be a huge desire to get more oil out of the region than normal. You have a lot of stockpiles that have been built up at different terminals within the Persian Gulf, and they stand ready essentially to dump a lot of oil into tankers.
All right, it is 6:45. More with E.J. Antoni coming up next. 15 seconds for traffic on WTN.
Talbot's Corner, 65 southbound past Trinity Lane. Accident blocks the right shoulder. Nashville Village, Murfreesboro Pike, a crash at Bell Road with emergency crews on the scene. And Bellmead, Harding Pike, there's an accident at Percy Warner Boulevard. I'm Christy O'Brien.
As far as weather goes, sunny today, 89, a heat index of 105. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. E.J. Antoni is joining us, senior economist for the Heritage Foundation. One of the things that has happened in the last couple of days, President Trump calling out Exxon and Chevron specifically for price gouging, for not lowering their prices. Talk about the process of lower oil prices and what we pay at the pump. Because there's a lot of people that are hearing the stories of, okay, Brent crude is lower and the, all of that. But sometimes it doesn't match what we're seeing at the pump where we go to buy our gas every day.
Well, and some of that has to do with the fact that so often when we hear the price of oil being quoted in the news, very rarely are they actually talking about the price that refineries are paying today to get product in the door today, to refine it today and turn it into gasoline and diesel and jet fuel today. Almost always the price you hear on the news is the futures price. In other words, this is the price for a contract of oil that's going to close usually in a month or so, and then the oil does not get delivered for another month or two after that, depending on what we're talking about, WTI or West Texas Intermediate, or whether we're talking about Brent, which is more of a global benchmark than an American benchmark. But whatever the case, those future markets, again, they are looking at the future. They are looking at the price of oil sometimes several months from now and what speculators think the price is going to be then to get oil in the door at a refinery. But that's not what refineries are paying today. And so even as those oil futures prices have gone down, as the price to get oil into the refinery today has remained high, that has meant that the refinery is passing those costs on to consumers, and ultimately that trickles down to higher prices at the pump. The other big problem is the fact that a lot of industry participants get squeezed on the way up. In other words, they don't actually get to pass on the full cost to consumers. A lot of those costs hit them before they can actually increase the price to whoever they're selling to, whether that's the distributor or the actual gas station or to you, the consumer. And so they make up for that on the back end by keeping prices higher for longer. But look, all you have to do to see, are these people actually price gouging us, is to look at the profit margins of these different market participants all throughout the supply chain. And you see they are nowhere near what the Democrats, for example, are criticizing them for having. They don't have these astronomical profit margins. In fact, their profit margins when oil is swinging up and down, if you average it out, it's basically exactly the same as those years when oil prices are steady. Yeah, we have a text line here, and somebody was texting in earlier today, and I don't pay attention to profit margins and all of that, but they said that, well, you've got these oil companies that have this massive profit margin. Clearly, they are price gouging. When you talk about the profit margins and what they pay, what we pay at the pump, isn't part of that where the oil companies, they have these refineries, they have to fire them back up again, they got to shut them down, they've got to change from winter to summer. All of these things are part of that whole process of not only how much they make, but also what they don't make when times are a little tougher. Right. And another thing we have to consider, Dan, is the fact that during this whole episode with Iran, we have seen refineries in the United States regularly running at over 100% capacity, and they have been delaying maintenance. They have been doing all kinds of extraordinary measures that we now need to make up for. And what you're going to see, you've already seen it, but you're going to see more of it in the coming months, is refineries that are shutting down more than they normally would be at this time of year because they have to go back and do that maintenance. They have to go back and switch over in order to get the correct seasonal blends for summer to meet all kinds of government regulations. Mm-hmm. And all of these different things are going to mean that price increases that would have happened during the normal spring months are now going to happen during the summer. And one last thing I'll point out is the fact that the government is still making more on a gallon of gasoline than these refiners are. In other words, you pay so much in taxes between federal taxes, state taxes, et cetera. You are actually paying the government more on a gallon of gasoline than you do ExxonMobil or Chevron or whoever else. So before the politicians start criticizing the oil companies on making too much on a gallon of gasoline, they should look in the mirror. EJ, one of the things that Scott Bessent, Donald Trump, and the Trump administration are sort of banking on is they're lifting the sanctions on Iran, the sanctions on Iran. And what they're hoping for is that Iran will see the light and really enjoy making a lot more money selling oil on the open market, as opposed to having to deal with China and selling it to China sort of on the back channel, if you will. And so I guess my question would be,
How much more money is Iran going to be able to get as they sell their oil on the open market without the sanctions?
Good question. Part of the reason why it's so good for us to actually have them on the level and not participating in a black market is then we can actually keep track of what they're doing, who they're selling to, how much, for what price, et cetera. We don't necessarily have a great sense of that right now. I've seen estimates that say in their black market activities, Iran sells oil at a discount anywhere from 10% to 50%. So it's unclear, is Iran going to be selling the oil for twice as much now, or are they only going to be selling it for more like, a 10% or 12% increase? That's unclear. So again, part of what's really good about getting them on the level is the fact that now we'll be able to actually observe a lot more of their financial activities. We'll be able to track a lot more of it. Then the other thing is the fact that, look, I'm a big believer that the more you have trade with different nations, the more peaceful your relations tend to be. That's just a historical fact. And it tends to be that before any two nations go to war with each other or that their diplomatic relations deteriorate, their economic relations deteriorate first.
EJ, one of the things that you do is you write for the Daily Signal. You've got this story. The headline is Alaska's Senate wants to raise your cost of energy again. Talk a little bit about what is going on in Alaska. I guess the state Senate there is preventing us from doing what we want to do to lower the cost of gas?
Yeah, this is just an absolutely insane move, and it's actually something that the Alaska House, has already rejected twice. It's something that the governor said he doesn't want. Industry participants don't want it. Literally, nobody wants this, and yet the Senate just shoehorned it in to a tax reform bill. They turned a tax reform into a tax hike. Basically, what this does is it targets certain types of corporations, what we call S corps, as opposed to C corps. The C corps are the big oil companies like ExxonMobil. The S corps are very small companies. It's where you get passed through income, where the owner essentially gets the income from the corporation. And S corps are designed to function like personal income. That's how the Congress structured the tax code. And now the Alaska Senate wants to basically create this new kind of carve out, I guess, where this specific type of pass-through income and just in the oil industry is now going to be treated like the larger corporations, even though that's not what they are. It's basically a major tax increase on these small companies that have invested a lot of money in Alaska, that are planning on investing a lot more money in creating new infrastructure, in bringing new energy online, both for oil and natural gas. That's going to help not just our domestic market, but it's going to allow us to export more. And it would mean that we make more money as a result. So it's lower prices here domestically. It's making more money by selling to the world, except all of that investment now is on the line. In other words, if this tax goes through, a lot of these companies are going to say, well, the heck with it. It's not worth it anymore, because you're going to go from that income being tax-free to that income being taxed quite heavily, actually having the fourth highest marginal tax rate in the country. So it's basically just going to kill all of that investment and prevent that new energy infrastructure from coming online, which in turn is going to prevent that new energy supply from coming online. It's just absolutely insane. I can't believe they're actually trying to put this into the bill.
You could find that on, I'm assuming, obviously in the Daily Signal, but also at your social media, which is, how can people find you online?
They can find me on the X platform, and the handle there is @RealEJAntoni.
All right, EJ, as always, thank you very much for the perspective and always great analysis. 6:55, running late but worth it. Joan's got the news at 7. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here on Monument, a new one at the state capitol. We'll tell you what it is coming up here at 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, I didn't tell you about this, but when we were gone on vacation, the air conditioning in our rental unit went out, and it was brutal. And it really did remind me that, that never really happens at home, because I am a member of the Beehive Club from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. They've really helped me out over the years, 10 years, as a matter of fact, over 10 years. Not only have I been a Beehive member, but I've had Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling install new units in my homes, repair the old ones, and overall, they have done such a fantastic job for me and my family. Becoming a member of the Beehive Club is really worth it because you're taking care of your HVAC over the long run by maintaining it along the way. I just mentioned that I was at the beach. Well, Busy Bee wants to send you to the beach right now. You buy any new home AC unit and you are qualified to enter to win a free 3-day beach getaway. They're going to pay for your gas, lodging, and a couple of meals a day. Details online at busybeehvac.com, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833. That website, one more time, busybeehvac.com. Hey, it's Dan Mandis. For my friends at the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project, America is turning 250 years old this year, and it does make me appreciate the veterans even more. Now, these folks at the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project, they are great Americans who have been crucial in helping our military heroes acclimate to life back home after multiple deployments. Our men and women of the military need the support that the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project does provide. Now, these days, they're also protecting our first responders, who, by the way, a lot of those first responders also veterans. And the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project has a new partnership with Shield 616, providing life-saving body armor for the Wilson County Sheriff's Department. Near and dear to my heart, I live in Wilson County. Now, these advanced ballistic vests will provide protection to first responders as they are protecting you. So give to the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project today. Work is not done for Wilson County. As much work as they've done to help veterans and first responders, there is still a lot more to be done. Find them online. Give today. CharlieDanielsJourneyHomeProject.org. CharlieDanielsJourneyHomeProject.org. Learn more and donate to the veterans and to the first responders.
Good morning. It's now 7 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, the forecast, and traffic still to come here. Day 2 of the murder trial of former Tennessee Titans scout Blaze Taylor, who's charged with the murder of his pregnant girlfriend and her unborn child. George heard the 911 call that Taylor placed that night.
I think they have a allergic reaction. We were getting cookies and painting, and she said she was feeling good. And I went back to the room to check on her.
Now, he said he thinks there that she had an allergic reaction, but prosecutors allege that Taylor poisoned her with cocaine in her drink. Also, yesterday, a detective testified that the scene at Taylor's apartment became contaminated after some friends removed items before investigators could fully process the scene. There's a new monument at the state capitol. It is a monument to unborn children. It was unveiled yesterday on the 4th anniversary of the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Tennessee Right to Life says that with the passage of the Human Life Protection Act, which bans nearly all elective abortions in the state, about 10,000 lives have been saved. The monument has been paid for entirely through private donations. President Trump canceled a signing ceremony for the bipartisan House legislation yesterday. He's demanding passage of the Save America Act first. House Speaker Mike Johnson said that may have been just the jumpstart that lawmakers needed.
He's laser focused on Save America Act, as most common sense Americans are. The only path, I think, to get that done, because you're never going to get 7 Democrats to join 53 Republicans in the Senate to do that. They will not do it. Chuck Schumer will never vote for that or release any Democrat to do it. You have to put it on a reconciliation bill.
The housing bill, which aims to promote new home construction and bars private equity firms from buying homes, will pass without the president's signature. It got enough bipartisan support to become veto-proof. Market numbers are brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. So let's check on the pre-market numbers here. The Dow futures are plus 98 right now. NASDAQ futures gaining 625. The S&P futures are up 50 points. And oil still falling this morning. We've got Brent crude at $73 a barrel and the West Texas Intermediate crude at $69.81. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. It's 40 westbound in Lebanon this morning before South Hartman Drive. You've got a crash that takes out the left lane. Pretty slow around it. Murfreesboro Pike and Nashboro Village, a crash involving injuries at Bell Road. And then there's something, perhaps dogs in the median on 24, the eastbound lanes before Epps Mill Road. That's in Christiana. Watch it. Those dogs may be running into the roadway and causing some problems with traffic this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
7:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, I believe that I heard my absolute favorite Matt Murphy moment yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So people are asking me if I heard this interview on the Super Text line. A couple of people have asked if I've heard the interview that he had with this guy named Austin Lee.
Mm-hmm.
So Austin Lee, this is like inside Republican politics for the state of Tennessee. So a flyer, it got sent to me at the end of yesterday's show, and it's making the rounds, I guess, but there is a little flyer, and it says, support Austin Lee. Join the Murray County Young Republicans. And then it says this, some bullet points as to what the Young Republicans stand for. Stop the Great Replacement. Expel the invader. Punish the traitor. Ban Islam and Hinduism. No wars for Jews. And men in charge. So I'm like, okay, I kind of get some of this stuff, but it just seems a little random, and I don't know who this guy is. He's not seemingly running for anything. Then at the bottom, it says Tennessee Young Republicans. So apparently there's been a bit of a battle going on between the Young Republicans and the Tennessee Republican Party with this dude, Austin Lee, because he sort of, it seems to me, and I've got the audio, he's absconded with the Murray County Young Republicans, and he's sort of just like taking it over. And so Murphy had him on the air yesterday. I think I've got, Joan, about 12 audio bites from this interview yesterday. This was an interview that was so train wrecky, it was beautiful. Do you know what I mean?
Train wrecky?
Train wrecky.
That must be new.
Yeah, it's, I always talk about, the train wreck, but this was so train wrecky. It was like a beautiful train wreck, Joan.
Okay.
So Matt had this guy on, Austin Lee, and I've got audio only. But if you're watching on Super Talk TV, you can actually see the flyer that has been so controversial. Now, just so you folks know, I don't get involved in local politics like Republican. I don't get involved in the parties and the groups, and I just don't, because I don't like to be part of all that. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, whatever with all you people. I like them all, whatever. But anyway, Matt has this guy on. First question. When were you elected as president of the Murray County Young Republicans? And so this dude hemmed and hawed, and basically he wouldn't answer the question.
So the question was, when were you elected to the post?
No, so I can say there was no election, but that's typical because there was a handover from a president, a previous leader.
A handover from whom, sir?
I won't name his name out of respect for him.
What?
Matt's like, what? Why can't you name the person who gave you or handed over the post? And you know what you folks that listen to Matt religiously like I do, you can tell when he's going in for the kill, right? You can tell when he's getting a little ticked off. And I could tell right away that this guy was going to bug the living crap out of Matt. So basically, from what I can tell, the Murray County Young Republicans, it was sort of defunct, right? I don't know why, but whatever. And so he seems to have taken the title, run with it, printed up these flyers, and is now trying to get members.
And I went through all of the steps that were mandated to ensure that I became the legitimate leader of that chapter.
What steps were those, sir?
I'm not going to get into that, but I'll leave it at that.
Wait a minute. No. Mm-hmm. I'm asking you what steps you took to declare yourself the president of the Murray County Young Republicans.
I hear your question, and what I'll say is that I did each step that was required by the Young Republicans to become the legitimate leader of that chapter.
So he won't name the previous guy in charge who gave him the title, and he won't disclose the steps he took to become the current president. So I don't know about you, but I'm kind of smelling a rat. And so I think that Matt is doing an excellent job of sort of discrediting this guy who seems to have hijacked the post, and the Tennessee Republicans, they want nothing to do with him.
Mm-hmm. Why are they disavowing your presidency?
Because they disagree with my politics.
Well, they also disagree that you engaged in the proper paperwork and the proper process to become the legitimate president. And so I'm asking you to detail that proper process for us.
And he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. Do you know what was interesting about this? And if you go, I would highly recommend some point today after my show's over, please, go and watch this interview on YouTube. It is so funny. It is so funny. Bottom line, this guy, Austin Lee, would not go through any of this for Matt. Nothing. Which is strange because it did seem to me like Matt was trying to be fair, although Austin Lee clearly disagreed.
So you've become hostile already during this interview. I'm not going to answer any other questions with respect to those minutia. However, I am willing to talk about my politics, as you prefaced when we first were setting up this interview.
So, dude calls it minutia, right? But here's the point. You've got people who will take that flyer and they'll say, hey, look, the young Republicans of Tennessee, this is what they believe. This is what they stand for, that men should be in charge. I mean, Phil Williams, for one, Channel 5, would look at this guy and say that he is emblematic of the entire Tennessee Republican Party. And the other thing about this flyer, if you can see it on Super Talk TV, but at the bottom of the flyer, it says Tennessee Young Republicans. Well, this guy represents, according to him, one chapter, the Murray County Young Republicans, but he's got the logo of the entire organization of the Tennessee Young Republicans. So by putting their logo on the flyer, basically he is telegraphing that the Young Republicans for the state of Tennessee stand by what he is doing with the Murray County Young Republicans, and they don't. So he's not being truthful. So minutia matters in some cases, and I believe that the minutia here does matter. The other thing is Austin Lee would not say how many members were actually in the Murray County Young Republicans.
So I'm not going to disclose, as I said, any further information on that line of thinking. However, if you could keep reading the flyer, I think that would be a good direction for the interview to move in.
Okay, so you want to interview yourself, or you want me to do the interview?
I mean, it was just, I don't know. I love this interview. Coming up after the traffic, we are going to get to the content of the flyer. And again, remember, the content of the flyer: stop the Great Replacement, expel the invader, punish the traitor, ban Islam and Hinduism, no wars for Jews, and men in charge. Now, some of this I kind of get. You know what I mean? Stop the Great Replacement, I totally understand. We'll get into that. But some of this other stuff, I don't quite understand. It is 7:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. All right, 7:15, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. Sunny today, 89. Heat index feels like 105. The heat on this interview between Matt Murphy and Austin Lee, about 150. So they finally get to the content of this flyer that he sent out, Austin Lee. And here's part of what they said.
The Great Replacement is the deliberate replacement of white Americans with non-white foreigners.
Mm-hmm.
That is what the Great Replacement is. It is a bad thing.
Who is doing that?
There are numerous groups that are participating in it. Jews are the ones that you want me to get that you want to get me to say. And yes, they are participating.
Whoa. What do you say? I didn't bring up Jews. You brought up Jews.
Very clear.
When have I? You're telling me what I want you to do? Do you know? Have I ever met you?
I can promise you, and I don't want to speak for Matt Murphy, but he was not trying to get this Austin Lee to say anything about the Jews. He was not trying to get this guy to, say something negative about Israel. I don't know where he got that from, but whatever. far as the great replacement goes, maybe what he means is bring in a bunch of illegal aliens, change the voting laws, allow them to vote. That is clearly what the Democrats want to do. That is what the Save America Act is all about. So, you heard him say during this interview with Murphy Show that it was a couple of groups that are doing this. Well, it's the Democrats that are doing that. So I understand what he meant by that. I do. I got what he meant by that. Matt also asked him about the part of the flyer that said men in charge.
Did you only send this flyer to males?
I can't be 100% sure that is the case, but that was certainly my intention.
Why did you not send it to females?
I don't believe that women belong in politics. I think that the franchise for women is a clear indication of civilizational decline, and I think it is one of the primary reasons that Western civilization is where it is, which is on the brink of annihilation. I think that women must be disfranchised from politics and men must lead.
Wow. Look how well that's worked out for the UK, right? Keir Starmer and their mostly male parliament, I assume, allowed that Islamic takeover of the UK, working really well there with all the men in charge, right? You want to talk about societal decline. The decline of Europe was overseen by men. That is such a silly point that he's making. On that point, he has lost all credibility. Do you know what I would ask him? I would ask him this. Who would have made a better president? Joe Biden or Condoleezza Rice, Elise Stefanik, Joni Ernst, Kristi Noem, Katie Britt, Tulsi Gabbard. She's been in the news. Marsha Blackburn. Now, I know that some of you folks are screaming at the radio right now because you don't like some of those people. But these women that I just mentioned, I would submit that any of them would be better than Joe Biden was. But the point that I'm making is that this guy is saying men must lead. I would also say to Austin Lee, our national debt is almost $40 trillion. You know who got us to $40 trillion in debt? Mostly men. All male presidents, both parties, and mostly men in Congress. So on that issue, I just think that he's making not only a stupid point, but an asinine point.
You're very, very wrong. I mean, you're very misguided, and you don't seem very intelligent either. But so punish, you ban Islam and Hinduism. So if someone practices a religion of their own choosing, like Hinduism, for example, in the United States of America, how are you going to ban that?
Well, the mechanics of how to carry out these things are worth discussing.
I'm glad you feel so, Austin.
That I believe that there is a legal avenue that can be achieved to carry out each of these objectives.
It's called the constitutional
amendment. In the case of religious practice,
it's called the constitutional amendment.
We have a constitution, and that can be amended. So, whatever legal route by which we could ban Islam and ban Hinduism, I would support that, whether it's a constitutional amendment.
Yeah, so they went back and forth, and I was, when I saw this, I was like, okay, so does he want to ban Sharia law, or does he want to ban Islam altogether? And he literally, on the flyer, it says that he wants to ban Islam and Hinduism. Now, I'm going to tell you, I understand sort of what he's saying, because we've seen what has happened in Europe. We see what can happen here, but, we do have a constitution that does allow people to practice whatever religion they so choose. And I don't believe a constitutional amendment would pass banning Islam and Hinduism. We can't even get the SAVE Act passed. Now, you can do what Donald Trump has done, which is restrict immigration from some of these countries that are majority Muslim. But the whole point that Donald Trump has made as he has done this is these are not, and I'm air quoting now, majority Muslim countries. These are countries that are rife with terrorism. That's the whole point. Now, he did lay out some reasoning, and if you want to check this guy out, you go right on ahead. But you know what's crazy about all that is that he wouldn't even say where he grew up.
Where were you born?
All of these are great questions. I'm not going to answer them on your show for sure.
This guy, Austin Lee, man, I'm just going to tell you, it didn't seem like he wanted to answer any questions about anything of a personal nature. He doesn't want to answer who it was that essentially handed him the presidency of the Tennessee Young Republicans. He doesn't want to talk about the steps that he took to fulfill the obligation to become the president of the Murray County Young Republicans. Now he won't even tell where he grew up or where he was born. And I don't understand why. Now, he clearly didn't like the way this interview was going with Murphy's show, and I understand that, but I don't understand. What I don't understand is why he just would not answer some of these incredibly simple questions.
It's my understanding the Attorney General is looking into you misrepresenting yourself as a part of the Tennessee Young Republicans. Do you have any response to that?
I think that is an interesting topic. And, I'll certainly be involved in whatever comes out from that topic or investigation or whatever, if it does exist.
Right, because you understand that if you're asking people to support a political movement like the Murray County Young Republicans, you have to disclose who pays for the flyers that you sent out. That is, it's against the law to not make that disclosure. Do you understand that?
I hear the words that you are saying.
Do you understand them?
I hear the words that you are saying.
Do you understand them? Yes or no? It's a yes or no question.
I hear the words that you are saying.
You're such a little moron. I mean,
Joan, every time I'm in trouble with something somewhere, whether at work or my wife or whatever, I'm just going to say, I understand the words you're saying.
I don't think it's going to
You don't think
I hear the words you're saying.
That's not gonna get out of trouble free
say
card.
The same things. We hear the words that you are saying.
Yes, but do you understand them?
So the flyer says that we also need to punish the traitor. He went on to say the traitors are the ones preventing ICE from doing their jobs. Okay.
I would encourage you to stop purporting to be the president of the Murray County Young Republicans.
I am the president. I will continue to report that until I'm no longer the president.
Okay, so the parent organization that offers the charters and the chapters are saying that you are not. You understand that, right?
I hear the words you're saying.
I hear the words you're saying.
That's great, man.
Oh boy, you're a pip, Austin. You come back, you call back in anytime because you're a moron, and I love that. That's awesome. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good one.
Yeah, you do too. There's 30 minutes of my life that I'll never get back.
I hear the words you are saying. There you go. You know what? Maybe that should be on his next flyer. I hear the words that you're saying. Now, apparently, there was some sort of a thing where this dude showed up and starts heckling Scott Sapicki, right? So, and I don't know the details of that. You were looking at that, and I guess Scott was on Murphy's show yesterday. I think it was preceding this. I didn't have a chance to listen to that. But I guess this guy is obviously he's making trouble within the Tennessee Republican Party, and specifically the Tennessee Young Republicans. Again, guy's name is Austin Lee, and his official campaign slogan for the Murray County Young Republicans, I hear the words that you're saying.
So apparently it's boiled down to debating Scott Sapicki on Israel and Jews, and kind of you're hinting at it, but what he believes is that there's a coordinated effort by Jews all across the world to force mass migration on Christian countries and ruin them.
So he's anti-Semitic?
Yeah.
Okay.
He believes there's a cabal. There's a lot of people that believe this, that this whole mass migration thing is somehow Israel and the Jews' fault.
That's just dumb.
Exactly.
8154. That guy is not a Republican. He is a left-wing wacko planted there to make the Republicans look bad. I mean, that would not surprise me. Like, who is this guy? What has he voted for? Who has he voted for?
He's got a Rumble, a Twitter, a Telegram. His Twitter handle is Austin Lee Speaks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you understand what you're speaking?
8067 says, is this dude an AI chatbot? At one point, Matt said during the interview, it's like I'm talking to AI. When the guy had said, I hear the words you're saying, like the 30th time. Let's see here. 6625. I'm pretty sure that he's a liberal. Chris says he sounds like a Democrat plant. This guy, 94. Okay, so everybody at 9,400, this guy is an obvious Democrat plant. It wouldn't surprise me if this guy was a Democrat plant. So anyway, I love that the Republican Party is like saying, dude, no way. No way. You're not one of us, and we will figure out a way to wrestle that Murray County young Republican presidency away from you. You know, the Murray County Young Republicans, it sounds like they were defunct. So I don't know what happened with the Murray County Young Republicans, but maybe what they need to do is get somebody from Murray County to be the actual president of the Murray County Young Republicans and truly build it up into a force that is, to be reckoned with so that they can, do whatever young Republicans do. Anyway, it is 727, Nashville's Morning News, 2214, paid for by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Love it. All right, it is 7. I'm really late. Got to go. 727, Joan's got the news coming up at 7:30. Joan.
Yeah, 12-year-old girl groomed and raped. Now her family is blaming a certain social media app. That story at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. And credit card interest rates, they are now over 29%. Most people are only making the minimum payments, and they're getting nowhere in paying down that principal. But, here's what a lot of homeowners simply do not realize. Using the equity in your home, you can easily access hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can pay off your credit cards, your existing HELOC, your car loans, or get money for that home improvement project. Now, one client just got $100,000 approved, saved over $1,500 every single month. Now, here's the best part. With Loan Pronto, you can do it all from your phone with zero out of pocket, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long drawn out bank process, and no touching that first mortgage. Rates are at near 3-year lows, so you've got to act right now with Loan Pronto. Save money with Loan Pronto. Go to loanpronto.com, see how much you can get in about 60 seconds. Loan Pronto's got 2,800 5-star Google reviews. 615-499-5780, 615-499-5780, loanpronto.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Good morning. It's now 7:33. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. American help is on the way to Venezuela after that deadly earthquake, 2 of them overnight. Secretary of State Marco Rubio speaking during a gathering in the Middle East this morning.
Deploying search and rescue teams from Fairfax County, Virginia, and Los Angeles. There'll be some others we'll add. That's their most immediate need right now is search and rescue efforts.
He says the White House will have a better handle on what Venezuela's longer-term needs might be after that country gets through the next couple of days. The social media platform Snapchat being blamed for the rape of a 12-year-old girl in Missouri. That girl's family filed a lawsuit claiming certain Snapchat features facilitated the girl's rape, including Snap Map and Quick Add.
According to the complaint, those features allowed the suspect to connect with and groom the girl. Well, he was later sentenced to 18 years after pleading guilty to rape charges.
Channel 4's Holly Thompson there. All eyes on Washington, D.C. this morning. The Supreme Court is set to release another batch of decisions. Among those still expected, birthright citizenship will be monitoring. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 7:35, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Dan Med is here for my friends at the Covered Patio. Now, listen, it's going to be like 105 today, or at least that is what the heat index is going to be. So I'm just going to give you like a real world example as to why you need to call my friends at the Covered Patio. I love hanging out on my back deck, my covered patio. It is going to be so hot outside. And so if you had some of these shades that they offer for your patio, you could still sit outside on your patio. You could just draw the shades. And so you have some shade on your patio on days like today when it is going to feel like 105 degrees. Now, you call the Covered Patio. You either build a patio or you upgrade your current patio. They can help you with that. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be extending the living space in your home. They do have those motorized screens so that you can easily keep the patio open when you want some sun and closed when you want some shade. That's what I'm talking about. So your back screened in porch becomes a lot more enjoyable. They've got a ton of outdoor living options. They've got those motorized screens. They've got those patio covers, custom wooden decks, and outdoor structures as well. They've got a ton of options with styles for every budget. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-695-2407. 615-695-2407. Find them online. Lots of great ideas. Thecoveredpatio.com. As always, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. Thecoveredpatio.com.
Got a crash in Lebanon. It's on 40 westbound before South Hartman Drive. The left lane blocked off by it. Westbound on I-40, the downtown split area just at I-24, you've got a crash that takes out the right shoulder. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:38. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Text line is open, very active. 615-737-9986. 615-737 WWTN. State Representative Scott Sapicki is going to be calling in here in just a couple of minutes to talk about this thing with the Tennessee Young Republicans. This guy, Austin Lee, purporting to be the president of the Murray County Young Republicans. And I've got Andy Ogles, actually, Congressman Andy Ogles. He's going to be joining us a little bit after 8. And I may ask Andy about that. Of course, he lives in Murray County, although in fairness, he may not know anything about this. He's a little bitty busy. He's a little busy, not a little bitty. He's a little busy in Washington, D.C. But anyway, we'll see what the congressman has to say about that. Again, he is from Murray County.
In the words of Alan Jackson, it is all right to be a little bitty, though.
It is. Hey, by the way, Joan, so what did you think about, I was just going fast on the whole Austin Lee thing, but what did you think about his comment that men should be in charge? Like, of all of the things that he said, I don't know why, but I felt that was the most abhorrent because it is so incredibly stupid.
You know what? I think this guy is a plant.
You think he's a plant? See, everybody thinks he's a plant.
I do. I mean, you can't be that outwardly ridiculous and not have some agenda, some like weird. He's coming at things. If you wanted to get to Christians who are super deep in their faith and believe that women should be home, you know, barefoot and pregnant and in the kitchen and all that, you're going to make a comment like that. There's no serious human being alive today who believes that women shouldn't be in politics or whatever, except for the pastorate. But, that's...
Well, yeah, and for him to say, look, if you're somebody who believes that, you want your wife to be a stay-at-home mom, and that's perfectly valid.
Different. But
for him to say that literally women should not be in charge of anything because they're part of the destruction of society or whatever it was that he said, I think that is so ridiculous.
It's a play on the social media joke that whenever we didn't cover it, but there was a mass shooting or attempted mass shooting in Montreal the other day. And there was a female officer who ended up shooting a civilian in the process and killing him. And so there's the kind of social media joke of repeal the 19th. And so he's taking that and expanding upon it.
Do you know that so Amy has talked about this, and there are some people in some Republican circles, supposedly, who are talking about repealing the 19th, that women should not vote. Now, I don't know what that is. I don't pay attention to like the murky underbellings of some of this. I just don't, because I think that those people, if they actually exist, are so ridiculous, which is why this whole Austin Lee thing, I didn't get mad. I thought it was funny as all get out. People are saying that that interview with Murphy Show was one of the funniest things they'd ever heard. That was me. I thought that it was funny. And Matt buried him by allowing him to speak because the dude buried himself. And so especially with the whole, I hear the words that you're saying, that whole bit, if you missed the last segment, go back and listen to it on the podcast. But it's hard for me to believe that, and have you heard that, Sam? You pay more attention to this kind of stuff than I do. But people that say that women should not be allowed to vote, is that a legit thing that is happening
I'm
on
looking...
some some Republican circles?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, because it's in theory, the belief on that, I'm not saying it's mine, I'm just saying that the belief on that is liberal women and their suicidal empathy vote for these asinine and insane policies, or they advocate for them if they're not elected into office, that have allowed migrants to pour into, specifically our country, allowed fraud to be funneled throughout. And if you look at some of these fraud cases, there's a lot of women involved.
Well,
They're
yeah.
not all being done by men. And so there's an element of, my dad makes this joke. What was the first thing women ever voted to do? Prohibition. People were upset about that. So they take the historical reference, they tie it into things in the future, and they somehow construct a narrative in their mind that we can blame things on women in that regard.
I think that's all silly.
It is.
Like I do.
If
I
it
think
wasn't for prohibition, we wouldn't have NASCAR. So hell yeah.
So listen, if you put the words repeal the 19th into a search engine, some of the first articles that come up are an episode on Spotify, repeal the 19th, in bed with the right. Also,
by the way, this is a Nick Fuentes thing. Oh, hey, take the phones off hold.
Why people are asking to repeal the 19th, the 19th Amendment. Yes, there is a movement to take away and what masculine means for American. So they're trying to tie it to the right.
Right.
And so this is a way for people to get, to gin up hate for the right.
This is a Nick Fuentes thing, by the way. Yeah. Like this guy apparently is what do they call him? A graper? That's Sapicki on one.
Ultra right.
Yeah, so that is a Nick Fuentes thing. And so this guy probably is a follower of Nick Fuentes. We're going to check traffic. Apparently this dude, Austin Lee, attacked Scott Sapicki at some sort of a thing. So I'm going to talk to Scott Sapicki coming up next. It is 7:45. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather goes, it is going to be very hot today, sunny, 89. Heat index is apparently 105. Joan, I'm told that talking about the heat index is something that leftists do when they're trying to sell global warming.
Oh.
Did you know that? I didn't know that.
You little lefty, you.
You know what? I'm going to tell the person that said that to me, I hear the words you're saying. Where did he go? Where did Scott Sapicki go?
I don't know. I had him. I told him I put him on hold, and he disappeared.
All right. Very good. Well, here's the problem. There he is right there. Joan, I cannot tap dance any longer. So because I want to get Scott Sapicki on. 3171 says this. So you want to be alpha males, always blame women for the world's problems.
Yeah.
All right, that's Sapicki. All right. State Representative Scott Sapicki joining us on Super Talk 99.7. All right, so this dude, Austin Lee, he started to, I guess, was it heckle you?
So I was asked to address this flyer at the Murray County Republican Party. And so I went at this straight on, Dan. This is, you hear about this racism, this bigotry, this hatred, this white supremacy, and you don't think it's real, and it's real. It's out there. And we just wanted to make sure that we let everybody know that we are not going to tolerate this kind of rhetoric in the state of Tennessee. And I made a reference to the material that you've seen on the flyer as being eerily similar to what happened in the 1930s in Germany to Jews. And when I said that, Austin Lee shouted out, it was right then and it's right now to do the same thing.
Interesting.
Killing 6 million Jews.
Yeah.
And so whether he's a plant or not, you got to take this stuff seriously and go at it head on, like Matt did yesterday, and let people hear how insane this rhetoric is and how dangerous it can be to the Republic. And this is not a Republican or a Democrat thing. This is a we the people thing, Dan, that we the people doesn't say we the Christians or we the white or we the men. It says we the people.
Well, and here's the thing, and here's what I would say, Scott, is that you're right about that. The kind of things that this dude is spouting left, right, moderate, independent. None of this is acceptable. And you're right. My worry is that there's some people out there that would try to, hang this on the Republican Party. And clearly, as Matt indicated in the interview yesterday, I guess the Attorney General is looking into this guy, and which is fine, which is good.
Well, that is correct, because like Matt referenced, because this has to do with politics, you have to disclose on the flyer who paid for this. And so you've got campaign finance laws, you've got postage, and he said he sent it out to 2,000 people, Dan. Each one of those is a violation. So we've got to take this seriously. I don't really want to give this guy any more time than we already have. But I do want to say this before I part with you is, I want to say thank you to my Democrat colleagues that have reached out to me to say thank you for the way that I've attacked this, because it doesn't matter. Democrat, Republican, independent, libertarian, we cannot tolerate this kind of rhetoric in our counties, in our state, and in our country.
I love it. And what the Murray County Young Republicans, so is there a current president? I mean, this guy claims that he's a current president, but was this group defunct before he took it over? Air quotes, took it over?
Yes, and able to maintain a young Republican, you have to have at least 10 members that repeatedly come to your meetings. And in Murray County, there weren't 10 members participating, so the whole thing goes away. I'm sure the Tennessee Young Republicans are looking into making sure that this gentleman does not ever say the word president of the Murray County Young Republicans ever again.
Yeah, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate what you're doing and Matt is doing and the Attorney General is doing to take this on, because you're right. There's some that would try to take this kind of a story and run with it. And at the bottom of that flyer, I'm sure you noted that the Tennessee Young Republicans logo is on his flyer, and the Tennessee Young Republicans are disavowing this chapter. Scott, thank you very much for joining us here on WTN at the last minute. Appreciate your perspective, and if there's any update, will you let us know?
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
All right, man. See you later. Scott Sapicki. There you go. There, and sad but true. There are people in our community that would try to say this dude is part of the Republican agenda or part of the Republican Party. Clearly, it's not. And but there's some people that facts don't matter. They want to do whatever they can to hurt the Republican cause or the conservative agenda. So I love the fact that, Matt had this guy on yesterday, let him speak. Dude buried himself, in my opinion. And we have talked about, some of the things, just so we're clear, some of the things here I vehemently disagree with. Some of the things on the flyer, I do understand. Stop the Great Replacement. I talked about that. That is actually a thing. Expel the invader. They didn't get into that during the interview, but I'm assuming the invader would be the illegal aliens that have come into our country. You could talk about mass deportation. Punish the traitor. He says that when he talked about that, he was talking about the people not allowing ICE to do their job. Okay. The whole ban Islam and Hinduism doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I do understand if he was talking about Sharia law. No wars for Jews. That was a tip-off to me that he's anti-Semitic. And the men in charge thing just completely blew my mind because of the things that I said earlier, which is the men in charge of, politics here in America, by and large, have gotten us $40 trillion in national debt. And look what the men in charge in the UK have done there in allowing all of the Islamification of their countries. So I guess that's all I'm going to say about it. Sam?
Well, and to compare and contrast a little bit, yesterday you had Dane Chisholm that was part of this, just call it what it is, a hit piece, right? Trying to tie Monty Fritz into somebody that has some, kind of further right views. But the difference being he's not claiming to be a president chapter for a Young Republicans organization. No. He's just expressing his opinion, as he has the right to do on a free speech platform like X. Mm-hmm. And when he did engage with the public, all he was doing was asking people in Knoxville, do you think that gubernatorial candidates should debate each other? So
very valid point.
He took it pretty civilly to the streets, whereas I just, the way Austin presents himself, not willing to debate or have conversation, he just wants to say that he's right and make a claim about his presidency that I guess could not be falser.
Yeah, I think this either was a plant or the whole thing is just absolutely bizarre. Anyway, 7:53, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. And Joan has the news coming up at 8. Joan.
Yeah, coming up, a couple of deadly shootings at the very same time in the Nashville area. I've got the details coming up at 8 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
7:58 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan and Sam, a lot has been made of the Major League Baseball deciding that they would not be fining the ball players that put the Bible verses on their caps.
Oh, yeah.
During the whole Pride thing. We talked about that. So a little kid was asked what he thought about the whole situation. I guess he was at a Giants game. He's wearing some Giants gear. This is what he said.
So there's obviously a big Pride Night controversy. You had a few of the pitchers, they put Bible verses on their Pride hats. What'd you think about that?
I get it because I don't know why that should be in baseball.
Like Pride Night should not be in baseball?
No, I don't get the point of it.
So you would support the pitchers putting the Bible verses on their hats?
Yeah,
What do you think about people that are mad about it?
they're probably gays.
Okay. There you go.
Man, say it like it is, bud.
Well, I don't know about that because there's a lot of nut job liberals who are straight who wanted the whole. I'm not going to put that just on gay folks. It's Democrats.
Listen, as R. Kelly said, trapped in the closet.
I have no idea what that means, but thank you, Sam, as always, for chiming in. It is coming up on 8 o'clock. Super text line is open, 615-737-9986. Joan, we got a big hour coming up.
We do?
We do. We got Congressman Andy Ogles at 8:05, and then at 8:36, during the crisscross handoff, I've got a topic that is going to blow the roof off this place. Blow the roof off this place. And as we know, this building is not in great shape, so that really won't take much. But anyway, so you want to stick close.
Nobody will know because of the gunfire outside anyway.
But there's literally a murder next door.
There is. For you folks that were not listening earlier, there was a double murder in the hotel next door to the radio station.
Only one person ended up being murdered. The other was just shot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it was not a double murder.
No.
It was just a single murder.
Yeah.
That's much better.
Yes,
All right,
I know.
8 o'clock on WTN.
Good morning, 8 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. 2 deadly shootings keeping police busy in Nashville and Brentwood overnight. In Nashville, police were called to the Comfort Inn on Demumbrian Street. That's the one right across from our studios. Happened about 1 o'clock this morning.
Who shot who? That's the question. Officers say they found a man who'd been shot in the head. He was inside one of the hotel rooms. Police found a woman who'd been shot in the parking lot. They're now trying to figure out what led up to that gunfire.
That's Channel 4's Holly Thompson there. Around the same time in Brentwood, Channel 4's Marius Payton tells us that a man was shot dead at the Brentwood apartment homes.
Police say a man let another man into his apartment. There was some sort of altercation, and one of the men was shot and killed. Police say they are not searching for any suspects.
Yeah, we'll have more on both of these shootings as information comes into the newsroom. Well, what a rocky day in Washington, D.C., which ended with a celebration on the National Mall.
President Trump last night kicked off the Great American State Fair, part of the America 250th birthday celebrations getting underway.
We are one people, one nation, marching into one magnificent future.
But hours earlier, a shouting match on Capitol Hill as the president met with Republicans behind closed doors. Sources say Trump lashed out at senators who had voted symbolically to limit his war powers. Trump reportedly calling Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy a lunatic.
He asked, why would anybody vote for the War Powers Act?
Cassidy, who recently lost his re-election bid, admits losing his temper.
Cassidy received a special briefing about the Iran war in the Situation Room, and afterward, he changed his vote on the War Powers Resolution. In Pennsylvania, investigators are piecing through evidence of a double murder, a husband and wife who were reportedly killed by their own daughter. Michelle Zyko is linked to a notorious cult called the Zizians.
The Zizians, described by authorities as a cult that shares radical beliefs about veganism, animal rights, and gender identity. They're now linked to 6 deaths in 3 states, including the killing of a Border Patrol agent during a highway shootout in Vermont last year.
That's ABC's Andrea Fuji. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We're looking at futures on the plus side this morning. Dow futures up 154. NASDAQ futures, they're gaining 700 points. S&P futures are plus 60. And oil, the West Texas crude is still down below $70 a barrel. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. So you've got an accident East Nashville on Ellington Parkway southbound at Spring Street. Also in Madison on Cheyenne Boulevard at Manzano Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.806 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super text line is open 615-737-9986. I'm going to welcome in Congressman Andy Ogles here in a second, though. He's on hold. He can hear what I'm saying. I want to play this piece of audio, and then I'm going to get his opinion on it. Outside, apparently, of the home of the Democrat minority leader in the House of Representatives, Hakeem Jeffries, you have a bunch of Democrat socialists cheering and chanting, "You're next. You're next. You're next. You're next. You're next." Yeah, they are out for blood when it comes to Hakeem Jeffries. Congressman Andy Ogles is joining us here on Super Talk 99.7. Congressman, I can imagine, there's some folks that say that the Republican Party has our own bit of dysfunction. That's nothing compared to what's going on in the House of Representatives in the Democrat Party.
Oh, well, thanks for having me on. No, absolutely. Keep in mind that dysfunction in the House sometimes can be a good thing. And so the fact that you have, the House Freedom Caucus or maybe the other faction of the Main Street Caucus, which is much more middle of the road and moderate, the House is meant to have argument and debate and to come to consensus and then vote on something with a simple majority. Now, what you're pointing out is an absolute dysfunction amongst the Democrats, where you have these group of individuals that ran for office. They're socialists, they're Marxists, they hate America, they hate our Constitution, and they want Hakeem gone. So he's got his hands full. So, to whatever extent Mike Johnson might have his hands full, Hakeem has got it tenfold worth. And it really is, I think, a commentary on the fact that Hakeem is more of a figurehead. He's not a true leader. They don't respect him in the same way the Republicans respect Mike Johnson or McCarthy before him. And so it'll be interesting to see. I fully expect, because of redistricting and just the momentum that we have right now, that we'll hold the House in the midterms, which is historically an anomaly because the party in power almost always loses the House in the midterms.
So there's been a couple of news stories regarding President Trump and Congress. One of the big ones, of course, yesterday, you had the lunch with the House, I should say the Senate Republicans, I believe it was, and calling out a couple of the Republicans. It all boils down to the Save America Act, which the Republicans in the Senate simply refuse to get passed, and Donald Trump is getting really ticked off about this. You and I have spoken before about how, yes, it has already passed the House multiple times. From your vantage point in Washington, D.C., Congressman Ogles, is there any chance at all that this thing is actually going to get passed?
Oh, yeah, I'm skeptical. It should be passed. The will is there for it to pass. And keep in mind, I have meetings here in the district with the labor secretary. We're going to be meeting with business leaders across the mid-state. Then I fly back to D.C. We're in D.C. unless they change the schedule again next week. Meanwhile, the Senate, who hasn't done their job, keep in mind they have not passed the Save America Act. They just took a 2-week. They're taking a 2-week recess. I mean, so it's infuriating because here I am traveling back and forth. I signed up for the job. I'm not complaining, but that has an impact on my family, my community, and all those other things. We're putting in the effort in the House. We're getting it done. Meanwhile, the Senate, they're going to take another vacation. And the American people, members of Congress, in the House, that is, we just throw our hands up in the air and what are you doing? Like, there's a mandate from the American people. Over 80% of Americans want the Save America Act passed. They want our elections to be secure in the Senate for whatever reason. And I honestly I can't fathom a logical reason why that's not on the floor and hasn't been voted and passed and signed into law. It's baffling.
Well, you've got, and I have this theory, and I think that you've got the 4 senators who refuse to vote for it. So when John Thune says, I don't have the numbers, that's what he means. But, I have a theory that there's a lot of senators that don't want this to come for a vote because on the surface, they'll say, oh, we want to pass it, or we want to kill the filibuster, but we don't have the numbers. They don't want the vote because they don't want to be exposed or have to make an actual decision or stand on the issue.
But that's what, again, I find baffling. This isn't a controversial issue. This isn't an issue. I'm a big gun guy. I think most people know that. But for some people, guns are controversial. Not for me. But that being said, it's not an issue that would otherwise be controversial. Republicans, Democrats, independents, black, white, brown, conservative, liberal, across the spectrum support passing the Save America Act. And so there's really no way to defend not doing it. I mean, the people have spoken. The president wants it. It's part of his agenda. The House has passed it twice. It's part of our agenda. And at the end of the day, we all serve at the leisure of the American people and the American voter, and the Senate's not doing their job. And again, that's why I say I can't fathom a logical reason why they wouldn't vote on this and pass it for the American people. Now, if you're grasping at straws, the only reason why, if you're John Thune and you're delaying is to vote on it right before the November elections, so that his senators can go home and say, look, we did it. We got it done. We got it across the finish line. But meanwhile, we have another election where we know there's going to be fraud. We know there's going to be abuse. We know there's going to be illegals voting. And that could have been fixed and prevented had we passed the Save America, or the Senate passed the Save America Act sooner rather than later.
Speaking of fraud, Congressman Andy Ogles is joining us. You are going to, if you have not already, introduce the Remigration Act. And if I'm reading correctly, it would revoke the immigration status from individuals who abuse America's laws, defraud taxpayers, and support terrorism or threaten our national security. I love this, and talk about the details.
So, obviously, immigration is one of my big issues. I work closely with the White House, Stephen Miller, et cetera, on crafting this legislation to be constitutional and fit within the president's agenda and, quite frankly, fix the law. So before 1965, we had a quota system for immigration. We knew who were coming into this country. We had strict rules and regulations around immigration. After 1965, Hart-Celler passed, so that's why I had the Assimilation Act, which fixes that framework. Now the question is what do you do with all those people that are here that came under false pretense? Say Mondani in New York, he lied on his N-400. If the Remigration Act were passed, he could be deported. He could be denaturalized and deported. You're welcome, New York. But so you have this socialist Marxist cancer that is really surging in New York. I'm afraid it's going to continue to grow. So we fought a Cold War over the spread of Marxism in this country and communism in this country, and now here it is again rearing its ugly head. But if you come here and you're naturalized within a 10-year period, you commit a felony, you're exposed for fraud, you're supporting terror, you're just denaturalized and deported. If you come here on a visa, whether it's a work visa or a student visa, and you're out there agitating anti-American sentiment, your visa can be revoked and you can be deported. Again, if you're here on a green card and we catch you on welfare, you're abusing welfare, you get deported. All of this stuff is common sense. It's simply enforcing, quite frankly, laws are already on the books, but it's re-articulating it in a larger framework to say, if you do this, you're going to be denaturalized, and the next step is you're going to be deported. An important caveat to that is currently all of that takes place under the umbrella of the Department of Justice, so it's kind of a criminal probe. This would move it to the immigration system and services, so at that point it becomes administrative, and so they can do it quickly, it can be expedited, and you can do tens of thousands on any given week because we've streamlined the process.
Well, and this makes a lot of sense. Congressman Andy Ogles is joining us. I've got a follow-up to that question coming up. It is 8:15. Time to check the roads real quick on WTN.
East Bank, 24 eastbound at Shelby Avenue. Accident blocks the right shoulder. East Nashville, Ellington Parkway southbound. Reports of a crash at Spring Street. Fessler's Lane, there's an accident at Rundle Avenue and Madison Cheyenne Boulevard. A crash at Manzano Road. I'm Christy O'Brien.
As far as your weather goes, it's going to be hot today. Sunny, 89, heat index of 105. Congressman Andy Ogles is joining us. As far as this Remigration Act, so you said, and I was going to be part of my follow-up question, a lot of this stuff is already on the books, but ultimately what this will do is make it easier and faster to get this done.
That's right. So because it's under the DOJ, the Department of Justice, you've got all the normal appeals and the processes where attorneys can slow these cases down. It takes years and years to get anything done. It's incredibly expensive. Meanwhile, you have the DOJ that is, investigating their cartel and terrorists and all the other things where their attention should be focused. And so this puts it back to the immigration and naturalization system. They specialize in immigration. They track these cases. And again, it becomes administrative, not a criminal type investigation. So the burden of proof is lower. You can document it quite easily, whether you're here legally, whether you've committed a crime, et cetera. And so, boom, you're gone. That's it. There's no three strikes, you're out. It's just, you're out. And so, quite frankly, again, we've talked about this before, Dan. If you and I were to go to the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, and we were there on a work visa, and we do something stupid, we commit a crime, one, they're going to put us in jail. As soon as we get out of jail, they're going to deport us. That's it. There's no crying, there's no tears. That's the rules, those are the laws, and that's the way they're going to process us. And so we need to get back to that common sense approach. And quite frankly, when you have a country that's barreling towards increasing debt. We have veterans killing themselves 2022 a day. You have third graders that can't read and write. And, that's an important metric, because if you exit the third grade and you can't read, write, and do arithmetic, your chance of going to prison is off the charts. And so that's where we should be focused, is on Americans, not illegals. We need to be focused on our kids and our veterans, not illegals. Let's get back to common sense. And that's what my bills on immigration do.
Congressman, a couple of just real quick news bites regarding Anthony Fauci. First off, Tulsi Gabbard dropped those documents on her way out the door as DNI. She says that proves that Dr. Anthony Fauci funded gain-of-function research. There's a lot there. A lot of people are saying, of course, now that he needs to be brought in. He needs to be facing some charges. That the pardon that Joe Biden signed was actually done by AutoPen, of course, as everybody knows. Any thoughts on what could happen with this case? A lot of people would love to see Dr. Anthony Fauci face some actual charges where he actually faces some consequences for a number of things, including what it sounds like funding gain-of-function research and lying to Congress and lying to America.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know he was funding gain-of-function research. I think the kicker in that is that there was a window of time when they kind of made up this story about the origins of COVID, and that lost time really could have put the world on notice that this was a man-made virus. It has characteristics and properties where it functions not like a normal virus, that it has more aggressive tendencies. And so we could have prepared differently. But he hid it, and, the rest is history. And so, unfortunately, he was given a pardon. I guess you would have to prove, I'm no attorney, but you would have to prove that Biden was unaware that the AutoPen was being used. Again, I don't know the legalese there, but I think it's unlikely that he will be charged with anything. But, countries didn't know how to react to this because they were told a lie that was sold by Anthony Fauci. And if you or I did that, they would throw us out of the jail.
Last question for me here, just breaking news. It looks like inflation is up over 9%. I don't know all the details. It just came down. And of course, CNN, we've got CNN on in the studio here. This is breaking news for them. I understand things are more expensive. They say it's driven by gas prices, which are now going down. I think people are forgetting Joe Biden's 9.1% inflation during the time that he was in office. But putting all of that aside, there's a lot of things going on with the war in Iran. Just give me your opinion on the latest. Israel is now saying they will not leave the southern Lebanon. You've got that. You've got Iran, the lifted oil sanctions. So now they are able to sell oil on the open market. Gasoline, though, prices are continuing to come down with the Strait of Hormuz open. There's a lot going on. So just give me your opinion on what is going on with the war in Iran.
Well, hopefully we've hit this threshold where we're going to have stability. The markets like stability. So whether it's the consumer price index or inflation, having peace, having a pathway for stability in the region, you'll see those prices starting to come down. And prices of eggs and bread and meat at the supermarket tend to lag behind that initial spike or drop in oil and gas prices. And so it's natural that you're still going to see maybe some of your food items continue to go up because your grocery stores and your suppliers and distributors pre-ordered those things when prices were higher. So hopefully we'll see gas prices continue to go down. We continue to see peace in the region, and those inflationary numbers will go away. Because, I think, quite frankly, what we really need to see is 3/4 point interest rate cuts here in the future to get the housing market stimulated. But part of that is we need those inflationary numbers and some of those other market indicators to even out and settle so that, again, the math makes sense. When you start tinkering with interest rates, if you do it at the wrong time, you can do far more harm than good.
We had Congressman Matt Van Epps on, I think it was a week or two ago. He talked about how much fun he had playing in the congressional baseball game. Did you play?
I was there. I dressed out. A year and a half ago, I broke my back, and I'm still nursing it back to health. So I do plan on playing next year. But I was afraid with the twisting and the turning of being a shortstop and batting that I would end up re-injuring my back, and so I was really cautious. At the direction of my wife and doctor. So there you go.
Very good. All right. Well, I'm not very good that I didn't know you broke your back, dude. What? You getting a car accident?
No. I wish I could say it was something exciting. I was working on the farm, and we have this giant tree, and I was up trimming on this tree with a chainsaw. And 1 second I was in the tree, and the next second I was laying on the ground on my back. And so I've been banned from ladders from my wife because I shouldn't be up in a tree, I suppose, with a chainsaw. But it is what it is, and I paid the price for sure.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, and yeah, I get about the it could have been a lot worse. You had a chainsaw in your hand, but glad you're on the mend now, and
absolutely. I'm incredibly grateful. Yeah, I didn't have. I mean, obviously this sucks, but I'm on the mend. I didn't hit my head. I didn't lacerate myself with a chainsaw, and so God was looking down on me as I plummeted to the earth. And by the way, gravity's real. I tested it. It works.
All right, Congressman. Thank you very much for joining us on WTN. We'll talk to you again soon.
Take care.
All right, very good. What was that blast? What was that blast at the end? Did you hear that? Or was that just in my headphones?
Nah, that was the phone line.
Oh, is that what that was? All right.
What a tough cookie he is.
I didn't know that he fell out of a tree.
Yeah.
Was that
with a chainsaw in his hand?
Did I? Well, luckily chainsaws they have that thing where if you're chainsawing, your thumb comes off the trigger thing, then automatically it turns off. So lucky for him. But that's I should have asked him how far he fell.
They make tree trimmers for that, like people you hire.
They do
arborists.
You could. You know what? I'm not ashamed to say that I have called arborists in my day because I clearly cannot be trusted with a chainsaw.
I think there's a different. I don't know, arborist or tree cutters.
The arborists are like a fancy tree cutter.
Yeah,
I think so.
They're coming to my house next week.
Are they really?
Yeah. I mean, it never ends. Homeownership is.
Oh, don't even get me. Yeah. I got to pay. Did I tell you what Amy and I are talking about now? We got to put up a retaining wall. Oh, my goodness gracious. I will never be able to retire with this house. I've already just decided that. Because every time I turn around, something costs $17,000.
Do you know, we've been talking about the weather and how the temperatures are going up at 105-degree heat index. My air conditioner broke last night.
No.
Kaputs.
What is it with people on this show? When Johnny worked on this show, Ken too.
Crazy.
All of them have had problems with their air. There's like some sort of a curse on this show.
There must be.
Because the air conditioners keep breaking. I'm lucky enough to have Busy Bee. They do great work for me. But you and Johnny and Ken and Alia. So
insane.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, 8:20. I have no idea where to go with this. 8:26, and Joe. By the way, yes, inflation up over 4%.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any other the information on that. Joan's got the latest coming up. And Joan, what is happening in the news coming up at 8:30?
Yeah, don't read too much into that. That was all in line with expectations. So we'll talk about that coming up in the news, as well as a surprising theft and why some are saying it doesn't get any lower than that. It's coming up at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis. For my friends at DT McCall's, right now they've got massive savings waiting for you on appliances until July 4th. Listen to these savings. If you need an appliance, you've got to listen to me right now. You can save up to 41% on selected GE appliances, plus huge savings and rebates on appliances by Samsung, Electrolux, and Frigidaire, to name just a few. And yeah, I've got a house full of furniture and appliances bought from my friends at DT McCall's. I've been a customer of theirs for many years because they have great prices, because they have great selection and customer service. The first thing that happens in my house if something goes south, like an appliance, washer and a dryer breaks, whatever. I look no further than dtmccalls.com. That's right, the first thing I do, dtmccalls.com. The solution to whatever problem you have is just a click away. In store or online, DT McCalls is your Tennessee source for all things home, garage, and backyard. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online, dtmccalls.com.
Good morning, 8:32. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories on standby for Supreme Court decisions, which could be released any minute now. Court watchers are expecting a ruling on birthright citizenship, and also this one, too, from Shannon Bream at Fox News.
We've got these twin cases out of West Virginia and Idaho as well, where the states there have banned biologically born males from competing in female sports leagues and teams. So during those arguments, it seemed that the justices were leaning in favor of West Virginia and Idaho and upholding those laws. We won't know until we get the opinion. But that one's so far reaching because it goes beyond just those states. There are dozens of states that have similar laws.
These decisions could come any moment. We've got our eye on it. Talk about your slime balls. Thieves have stolen the brass vases from grave markers at a cemetery in Jolton. This happened after dark one night last week at Jolton Hills Memorial Gardens. The thieves took the vases and left the flowers behind, likely taking those vases to a scrapyard for money. One woman who's a family member's grave was robbed there tells News Channel 5 to steal from the deceased, it don't get any lower than that. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. The Federal Reserve's preferred gauge on consumer prices shows inflation at its highest level since 2023. Now, prices were up 0.3% for the month of May and 3.4% for the annual rate. That's just a little below expectations. These are core readings. The all items reading came in at 4.1% annual rate, and that also in line with expectations. So the stocks are trading now after the opening bell. The Dow Jones Industrials are plus 265. The NASDAQ is up 143. S&P 500 index is gaining 40. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Friends, if you have used a GLP-1 weight loss drug, well, you've seen what the scale can do, but what about the mirror? That can be a completely different story. Sunken cheeks and sagging skin. You know, they call that Ozempic face, and it contours. They see it every single day. Now, they use specialized red light waves to restore that firmness, restore that elasticity, and get you that youthful glow back with no needles, no pain, and no downtime. Now, you can start with a facial for just $99 or add a belly buster special for $149. For a total refresh, ask about the Dan Mandis makeover. You can buy a belly buster package and get a facial package for free. That is $1,500 in total savings. So get your glow back before those summer plans sneak up on you. Book right now at 615-236-9960, 615-236-9960, or at ContoursLLC.com. Contours in Franklin. Results you can see. What have you got to lose but inches?
got a crash in West Nashville on 40 westbound at the off-ramp to eastbound I-440. There is a powdery debris, they say, in the right lane, and so everyone's trying to avoid that. Ellington Parkway southbound in East Nashville, there's a crash at Cleveland Street. The right entrance lane has been blocked off. In Brentwood on Old Hickory Boulevard at Valley View Road, there's a crash. 24 East and East Bank at Shelby Avenue, the right shoulder blocked off with a crash. Eastbound 40 in Bellevue at Old Hickory Boulevard, a crash. Another one in Belmont on I-440 westbound. That one is at Hillsborough Pike. And just one more in Madison, 65 South at Briley Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$8:38. Super Talk 99.7 W. You all right over there?
Yes.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
My mic wasn't on, just for the record.
Chris Hand, is it 3 packs a day now that you're? I'm just kidding.
You don't know what it is.
What?
So the vacation that I was on.
Yeah.
The island was dealing with Sahara dust. It's like dust that goes up in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
From Africa and comes over and then lands on the island.
You know, that didn't happen in Clearwater.
They say it's good. It keeps away the hurricanes. At least that's like the myth out
Tell
there.
that to the dust particles in your lungs.
But I've been hacking, man.
Yeah.
I've been hacking.
All right. Well,
So,
it's fine.
I apologize.
No. It's all good. I just
No,
wanted to.
you just wanted to call me out in front of everyone.
I absolutely
when I
wanted
was coughing with my mic off.
Call you out.
I hit the cough button. And that wasn't enough for Dan.
We don't have a cough button. We have. Actually, we do have a cough button.
It's an off button.
It says mute on it.
Yeah.
Hey, I promised a segment that was going to blow the lid off this place.
I heard it was a barn buster of a segment.
And then, of course, I had to ruin it by saying, of course, this building is so old and dilapidated that it wouldn't take much to blow the roof off.
Aren't we getting a new building?
We are at some point.
Years from now.
Many, many years.
What do you think happens first? The Save America Act passes, or we get a new building?
Oh,
we might get the new building first.
You know,
Allegedly.
I'll be retired by the time they move into the new building. That's how long it's going to be. So, you know, there was very quickly, because I do have a barn burner of a topic.
Let's go.
But did you have the police left the Comfort Inn next door?
No, was there a bunch of police there?
There was a murder next door, man.
Isn't that where you guys stay?
It used to be. I don't stay there anymore. I stay in the whatever that thing is over on the other side of the building.
The one with the lack of murder?
The one with the lack of murder. Yeah, because, you know.
You should leave a review on the other place. It was great, but won't stay again because of the murder.
Yeah, there's murder there. Well, I mean, apparently, and Joan was reporting on this. Joan, somebody was in the building in one of the rooms and they got shot.
So guy got shot in the head. Now he's dead. He was found in the room. And then a woman was found out in the parking lot, and she had a wound, a critical wound to her leg. A shot, she was shot in the leg. Now she's in the hospital, but in that case, and in the other one, they're saying they're not looking for any suspects. So it must have been just these two involved in the shooting.
Did she Cheddar Bob herself?
Cheddar Bob?
It's an 8 Mile reference. He shot himself in the leg with his own gun.
Oh, maybe.
I thought that was called the Plaxico Burris.
It could be. It's also known as the Plaxico. Do you think, statistically speaking, it's actually the safest hotel to stay at now?
Why?
Because
statistically, another murder happening there would be far less likely than a hotel with no murder.
I don't know about
happening
that. This neighborhood is going to hell.
We use the same scenario to choose which airline to take. Last one that crashed.
Oh boy,
we're gonna have a crash.
Are you serious?
Soon.
That's what you do?
Well,
it's actually really smart though.
My brother does that. And
okay,
I thought that was crazy, but when you think about it, I mean, what's the likelihood?
It's true.
So,
it's like the safest place to be after a terror attack is where the terror attack happened.
Yeah.
Do you know what I've always wanted to do? Is this weird?
We're gonna find out.
So you know the crime cleanup people?
Oh yeah.
I've always wanted to do that. Like go to like a crime scene and see how they clean it up. Why do I I've always wanted to do that.
Like some people want to do a ride along with the actual police officers. You're like, no. Send me with the cleanup guys.
Send me with the cleanup crew. Give me a hazmat suit and send me in. No, I've always been interested in that. And houses where there's been murders in them.
Yeah, the mob has those guys too.
They do. They do. Breaking Bad, it was Mike.
Yep.
Remember that? Well, you don't. I don't know. Do you watch Breaking Bad?
I did for a little while.
Okay, very good.
Then
Anyway,
I got bored with it.
All right. So yeah, if you're part of a murder cleanup crew, call me.
Let us know. Yeah, we'll hide your identity.
People always ask me, do you take advantage of the accoutrements of being a talk show host? Number one, what accoutrements? And number two, no, I don't. But that would be the one time that I would, where somebody might be like, hey, yeah, you can come with us and check out a crime scene. I don't know who's calling me from that.
Would you be nervous that you would? Well, I guess if the cleanup crew's arriving, you don't have to worry about tampering with the scene.
No, like at
that point, you can pick stuff up.
Yeah, you can pick stuff up. They've taken all the fingerprints and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm just curious. Whatever. All right.
That would be a heck of a YouTube video.
Oh, it would. It would.
We'd have to have a lot of waivers signed.
Yeah, and you know what the thing is? I could go in and then I'd be like, I'm tapping out. This is actually not what I thought it was.
What if you lost a bet and you couldn't?
And I couldn't tap.
Like what if this was like the crux of a bet or something and you lost, and it's like a double murder suicide with 12 gauge buckshot and you've got to go.
Do you think you would tap out?
No, I did a remote broadcast from a morgue. Okay,
yeah, but that's clean and sterile.
I did. Halloween night. What? Yeah, many years ago. I wasn't the on-air guy. I was the tech that did all that stuff, and we did it from I think it was the LA County morgue.
Oh, that's like a super haunted place.
Yeah, I think that's why they must have done it. I don't know. I was just there for the paycheck, but man, it is just.
Is there a smell?
Yeah, I will never. You know how you remember smells?
Yep.
That is a smell I will never get out of my.
Was it sulfury?
No, it was
formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde is exactly what it was. All right.
Matt Murphy is weighing in.
Oh, what does he say?
I don't know. It's weird because we didn't even say his name. He said...
I said his name a lot earlier.
You did.
Yeah.
He said, I knew a guy that cleaned up crime scenes and death scenes in Montgomery, Alabama. Dan would puke.
Challenge accepted.
That's the point of the YouTube video.
Challenge. Oh, you know what? That would be. But see, then these are private companies.
We should send you out there, but we should do it in like the theme of Impractical Jokers.
Yes.
Where you have an earpiece and you have to say awkward things while you're in there.
Sure.
Boy, does it always look like someone spilled chili on the floor?
Hey. It's like, hey, listen, these are my new shoes. I cannot get blood on them. See, I would actually probably be really good at that because I do say stupid, awkward things many times.
I could picture someone going, could you get that spot over there? And you standing with the mop going, no, I cannot.
Getting more details from Murphy.
Oh, yeah? What does he say?
He said the guy he knew cleaned up a woman who had been dead for 3 months in an apartment.
Yikes.
Oh. Said she was no longer a woman.
Ugh.
She was just goo.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happens is all the gases collect in the abdomen, and then it distends and kind of bubbles out a little bit, and then eventually
Sam, we
it'll
don't need that
I've got to get to the topic that is going to blow the lid off this place.
Oh, you mean this wasn't it?
Like gases expanding in a dead body?
All right, so you guys, just moving right along. Do you guys remember the social media trend where black people are walking up to homeless, vulnerable white people and asking them, I got video, and asking them if they were part of the Karmelo Anthony jury?
Yeah. Hey, weren't you on jury selection?
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Seriously. No, he wasn't.
He was on jury selection.
No, he wasn't. He's a vet, dude. He's a vet. He's a vet. He ain't been on jury selection.
I ain't worried about that. You gonna die.
Quit, dude. The bus is coming.
You on jury? When you on jury?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
You on jury selection?
He wasn't.
You was on jury selection?
No, he wasn't.
Ignorant.
Oh. No, he wasn't. Not for Anthony. Not for Karmelo Anthony. All right, my B. I thought you was on jurisdiction for my B.
So it's just so. I mean,
so wait, this is a social media trend. So they're walking up to was it a white homeless person?
It's a white homeless person. That's what I say. They're walking up to white people who are vulnerable, homeless or what have you, and they're
imagine this in the reverse.
Oh, of course. I mean, obviously. So, and by the way, that was in Florida, and everybody knows that the murder of Austin Metcalf was in Texas. So they're just using this as an opportunity to beat down white people.
Wait, so they beat that guy up?
Mm-hmm.
He hit him, I think, once or twice in the head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Now there's another one out of Longview, Texas. In a graphic social media post, the victim said that she was approached by a group of strangers as she and a friend were walking back to her car after going out for some drinks. The victim wrote, in part, while getting jumped, they were yelling out, "Free Karmelo," saying they were going to target the smallest white girl they could find. And they beat this girl up. She's in a neck brace and all that. The Longview victim said the attack was unprovoked, as was this one, and as the other ones are, because it's all over social media. So
jail is too good.
I mean, I would agree. Jail is too good. And so she says that I never spoke a word to these girls. She never looked at them and indicated she did not know them prior to the attack. In the same post, the victim wrote that the Anthony case has nothing to do with her, yet the assault resulted in injuries, including a black eye, staples in her head, and significant bleeding. Fox News Digital speaking to the victim's father, who said that she is still shaken up over the incident, but that she feels it is important for the public to know what has happened. And I'm talking about this. This is what is happening. And it is horrifying. This keeps happening. Like, this is all over social media. Now, I don't know how, I'm just going to admit, I don't know how widespread it is. I've seen, I think, 4, and 1 is enough for me. And I would like to know if this guy here, I don't know if there's a way, Sam, for you to look it up, if this guy actually faced any charges. But let's be honest. People like this clearly do not care whether or not they have a record.
It's a hate crime. This is literally a racist motivated attack and a hate crime.
You're right.
But you know that reverse hate crime thing is harder to get than a hate crime of a white person against a black person.
Yeah.
They're going out and specifically targeting white people.
Because they're white.
Because they're white.
Because they're white. That's exactly why they're doing it.
I don't know why people are so afraid to have these kinds of conversations. Now,
I mean, I think the real conversation that you need to have, especially if you're in Texas or Florida, is concealed carry.
Yeah. If somebody comes up to you,
yep,
and you are armed, and they come up to you and they ask you if you're on the Karmelo jury, and you at this point know what's happening or what's going to happen, and they start beating you up, are you allowed to pull out your gun and defend yourself?
And you're going to see the cell phones being held up and pointing in your direction. I mean, that's a tell as well. So I would, anyways, I'd start blasting.
Meantime, you want to hear, this is, again, you got something, Sam?
He's not been arrested or charged.
It's on his social media. It's on his social media. Dude's name, social media. He posted it. He's proud of it.
He's on active felony probation.
Of course.
There you go.
Of course.
Engineers and doctors.
There's a new trend, by the way, on social media. I can't run the audio, but can you see? Are you watching Super Talk TV?
I am now. I always watch Dan Mandis and Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk TV, on YouTube and Rumble, and I also hit like and subscribe.
So you will see.
What?
I cannot play the audio because it's full of F-bombs. Have you heard of the Austin Bop? The Austin Bop is is in reference to Austin Metcalf, the guy murdered by Karmelo Anthony. Well, now on the socials, if you're watching on Super Talk TV, you can see what's happening. You have a bunch of young black people who are literally dancing with knives and pretending to stab themselves. It's horrifying. It is absolutely horrifying. And I mean, they're not committing any crime, but it's just, again, when you talk about, and these people, this person here that's on, looks like about 12, maybe even younger. And it is just, when we talk about a broken culture, this is what we mean.
I mean, imagine if white people did the George Floyd bop and just pretended to take a bunch of fentanyl.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're right. And it's, by the way, it's like a joyful dance, which is what they're doing.
I do notice that all of these individuals are gross and ugly.
I guess.
Inside and out.
They're souls.
Inside and out. Yeah, you're right, Joan. I don't know. But I think that this is something that, again, you ask the question, parents, do you even care what your kids are doing?
Well, and notice one thing about this compilation, not a single, I don't know, I guess some of them are in more isolated places in the house or something, not a single picture with their father in the background. I don't see any family photos up.
Austin, get back. I don't even know what that means. Sad, though, that this is what these folks are doing. I'm not saying this is emblematic of the entire community, obviously, but
I mean, no, like, let's be real. There's an absolute culture issue in the community.
Clearly, yeah. When this is like what you're celebrating. And the other thing that I would ask is, okay, you yourself, if you're black, you yourself may not be doing this, but are you willing to speak out?
Will you denounce it?
Will you denounce it? It's just like Islam. You know what I mean? Like, you got all the imams, and you got the terrorist attacks, and not all Muslims. Okay, but will you or the imams speak out against it if you are Muslim? I mean,
they tend not to.
You're right. They tend not to.
And even when they do, can you really trust it? Because, taqiyya.
Well,
guys, it's a religion of peace.
The religion of peace is that they blow themselves up into.
Real quick.
I don't even think it's a religion. It's a political system.
Real quick. I got one more thing. So, Savannah Hernandez.
Yes.
She was out speaking to a woman. I need audio only. Audio only. She was out speaking to a woman.
If evidence does come out that Karmelo was not in fact fighting for his life when he stabbed and killed Austin Metcalf, do you think that the black community will accept that?
If evidence shows that he did not, no, we're going to stand by ours regardless. They stand by theirs.
So there you go. Brandon Tatum is a huge black influencer. Awesome. Former cop, pro-American, the whole thing. Just a great dude. So he saw this and he did have a reaction to it.
No, we're going to stand by ours regardless. They stand by theirs.
All right, time out. Maybe that's why ain't no black jurors. Maybe that's why no black jurors are on the jury. Maybe that's why it's done. These black folks, I can't understand. Like when I was young, I was ignorant. I was a kid. And then I grew up and became a man. I become more wise and informed about stuff because I lived a little bit. I studied a little bit, went to university and all this other stuff. I am shocked when I see black people still thinking like I was thinking when I was 5. I don't understand how an adult could get on camera and say, we're sticking with ours. That is the craziest thing that one could say. You're going to stick with falsehoods because the kid is black. I would never get it.
Brandon Tatum's based.
He really is. There's another thing, by the way, to keep in mind. You have all of these folks that are saying these crazy things, that skin color matters more than the evidence. But you also have people saying that if you end up in a jury pool in a case like this, do not admit that you cannot be impartial.
Half of the black people who could have been on the jury canceled themselves out. When you go up there, say, no, I have never heard about this case. I can be fair. Say that, okay? And then mean it. Believe it a little bit. So don't go in there and act like all of a sudden you have to be the most honest person you've ever been.
Yeah, that is on the Gin and Juice podcast. And that kind of conversation, especially after the Karmelo Anthony verdict, a lot of people were saying, guys, just lie. Don't get up and say you cannot be impartial. What you need to do is you need to just lie to get on the jury and then do what you got to do. Even if the guy is clearly guilty, just make sure that he gets off because of equity or whatever you want to say.
Because we're expecting that in the Luigi Mangione trial because he's white, right? We're expecting that in the Alex Murdaugh retrial because he's right. Right? No.
All right, that's all I got. Anyway, so it is 8:56 on Super Talk 99.7, and Joan's got the news coming up at 9 o'clock. Joan.
Yeah, I got my eye on the TV. I am watching for any Supreme Court decisions that come down. Could be any minute now. We'll check it out here at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Summertime is officially here. That means, at least for yours truly, long walks in the midday and afternoon at Charlie Daniels Park. That's right. I'm trying to really get back into walking. 15 years ago, I couldn't do that because I was riddled with chronic back, neck, and knee pain. Then I heard a commercial like this one on WTN. I called the Wellness Institute of Nashville and Dr. Kevin Mitchell, and I went through some of that now famous non-surgical spinal decompression therapy. I started to feel a whole lot better. And these days, as I like to say, I'm better than ever, feeling great at the age of 58, doing things that I could not do at the age of 45. If you're not as active as you once were, check out my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. They can help you as well. Right now, they've got this new contraption. It's amazing. It's called Medical Bay 1. It's really futuristic. It does use red light technology and stem cell stimulations for tissue regeneration and healing. You mention my name, you get $33 off of each visit when you go to use Medical Bay 1. It is the Epic Spinal Special. Call them, tell them I told you to reach out. 615-246-5009, painisbad.com. That's painisbad.com.